Today in the mix, broadcasting to over 100 countries, live from New York City. You're about to enter the Speak Ezy with your host, Shannon, featuring CeoCruize, with Picante Times DJ Eric. The Speak Ezy, where Americans can come and experience freedom as our forefathers intended. Live from Studio A, here's Pop Shannon and CeoCruize.
Good evening, Miss America and all the ships at sea. It is your boy, Pat Shannon. We are broadcasting live through the Speak Ezy right here on In the Mix Radio. And for everybody listening in on the TuneIn app, welcome, and a friendly reminder before we jump into this bucket
of
information that we're going to pass on this evening.
There you go.
You could download the In the Mix Radio app completely free. Shout out to everybody in the chat room with us this evening, Freddie Baez and the boss lady, Miss Jeannie Hernandez. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce the man, the myth, the legend, my partner, and a fine, upstanding American, Mr. Andy Garcia.
I wait for the applause.
I don't get it.
Thank you. All right, people. I hope you're tuning in. Grab a seat, listen up, because we got a lot of good stuff coming your way today. We're going to talk about a lot of good topics. If you got anything you want to speak, anything is on your mind, or anything you want to say about what we're going to bring up, feel free to call in. The numbers are
718-705-4959, or you could call us at 914-969-MIXX, which is actually 6499. And joining us also, because we know how much he loves the political rants and raves, the man, the myth, the legend, the gentleman who keeps elevating the internet to the next level, our CEO and fearless leader, Mr. Cruise. Mr. Cruise, good evening, sir.
Yeah.
We'll give you the applause.
Did you? There he is.
I get the artificial applause.
Yeah, and I forgot to say, he keeps elevating the internet to the next level, and he was the shooter on the grassy knoll. Ladies and gentlemen, CeoCruize.
My new name is Ahmed.
How was your weekend, sir?
The same.
You're not. It's so sad that you gig and don't like the gigs.
I hate gigging.
Wow. I always think of how I'm going to put myself back into the music business, and then I realize that I'm a 50-year-old jackass and nobody wants to, go to a club and
You're
see a
50?
I'll be 50 in April. So
you're half of 100?
I'm half of 100. So technically I'm middle-aged because I'm going to live to be 107. Sure. But, you kind of sit and you go, wow.
Soon you'll be able to get the passes.
I can't wait, AARP.
So you could park at Walmart in the front.
Yeah. Well, my father calls that the retard sticker, and he has one. He can't get the retard plates, but he hooks it on his mirror.
Yeah.
And I've asked him, I was like, Pop, lend me the retard sticker. He's like, no, you can get in trouble for that.
Oh, my
Who's
God.
going to know? No. But when he comes with me, he brings it. I'm like, Dad. But
he figures they're going to ask you, hey, where you have that?
So, yes, for the new people logging on, what you do is you click on the chat room, and then you click on the play button, and it'll take you to Ustream. This way you could interact. And no, Frederick, Mr. Freddie Baez, I did not get my AARP card yet. But soon I'll be getting tickets to, like, the Kenny Rogers show and Engelbert Humperdinck and stuff like that, because that's what old people do. It's great.
Oh, shit.
Isn't it great? Cruz, I don't know what you shitting about. You're going to be right behind me. Me and you at the Engelbert Humperdinck 2017 Memorial Tour.
That's a rough one. That's your man?
I like his music, too.
They did a couple of good
Love
songs.
me with all your heart.
Which one? Which one?
The Spanish
See?
Eye song.
Yeah.
See, Tom Jones.
I don't like Tom Jones.
You like Tom Jones? Who you teasing?
It's
I
not
saw.
unusual.
See, I saw Tom Jones in Westbury Music Hall, and the boy had no
You actually
underwear on.
paid for that?
Yeah, it was great.
Okay.
It was like 15
How the hell
years
did you
ago.
know that he didn't have no underwear?
Because
You
not
was
a
meat
pant.
gazing?
His pants were so tight.
You were meat gazing.
No, I wasn't meat gazing.
Oh,
It was
okay.
me, my wife, my mother, my father.
Oh, okay.
And
I
let
just
me
picked up on that meat.
let me tell you, his pants were so tight. First of all, it was the night he must have just dyed his hair because his eyebrows, his chest hair, and his hair on his
Black as
head
hell, right?
was just like bang right in the mug.
Right.
So I was like, holy cow! But some chick pulled her panties off and flipped them up on stage.
Really?
Yeah, she was like 6 feet tall, blonde, and he smelt them, and he has this like little Wales kind of accent. And he goes, "It's still wonderful after all these years." And I was like, "Tom, I'm here with my mother, for Christ's sake."
Wow.
And my father's going, "Cut it out! It's Tom Jones."
He can get away with that. He can do that, right?
But
Amazing.
no, he was great. And just like last year, I went to the same venue and I saw a guy I never saw before, Ted Nugent.
Oh my God.
Right, he's 65 years old, and let me tell you, it was one of the best shows I've ever seen.
He's known for his shirts, huh?
Yeah, you know.
He's known for. He's known for
But
his flamboyancy, right?
yeah, Cruz, when are you gonna start doing the old guy circuit? Like instead of doing Sapitos, you're gonna be doing like the Sunset Retirement Home.
Listen here.
You know what? He said that was a hustle, though, right? Mm-hmm. Did you tell me a while back that was a hustle doing the retirement homes?
Yeah. You know, it's
See?
funny that I actually now for Valentine's I think I did the old people joint.
And it
And
wasn't
you know
too
what's
bad.
funny? They appreciate the old music.
Yeah.
Of course, that's what it's about. They don't want to hear this new stuff. They don't know nothing about
But
that.
you got to go to the
Thank you,
clubs
sir.
and you got to play all this new crap that's out that makes no sense. You know, to me, I don't appreciate the music that's out now. I play it. I mean, I know it. But to me,
Yeah, you
it's-
have to stay up on current events. Yeah.
Right, you know what I mean? And then it's bad because you got people that's my age acting like they 12 years old.
Well, that's like I'll say Bruce Springsteen one time didn't play any of his old hits. He only played new stuff, and people left pissed off. Because when you go, like, it would be like going to see the Sugar Hill
exactly.
Gang and they don't do Rapper's Delight. Are you kidding me, brother? I don't want to hear your new stuff.
Right.
Well,
You know what I'm
artists normally
saying?
leave their old stuff for the end.
Yeah, I mean, you got to play them. They're standards. Like, why
Exactly.
do you think Iron Maiden concerts are 4 hours long? There's no opening act. They get on stage. They got, 22 albums, and each album had airplay on 2 or 3 songs. So it's like, you might get a new song.
Great. It's great.
When you used to perform, no one threw panties at you? I know they threw underwears at Eric.
Huh? They threw him a jock strap? Get the fuck out of here, bro. Excuse my friends.
I signed a few buttocks and a few
They
other
threw him a
body
jock
parts.
strap?
You imagine that?
Well, they throw you a pair of underwears with a skid mark in them?
But
Imagine.
did anyone ever throw underwear at me?
If you got to think that hard, no. Because that would be memorable. That would be memorable.
I've had some frightening things said to me. Like, women are more forward than men.
Oh, 1,000%.
Like, when I was on tour, I had women actually tell me, "Hey, why don't you come to my house and we'll do A, B, C, D, E," and I'm looking at them like it's tomorrow morning, Sunday, honey. How could you talk about this on the day of the Lord? But no, I mean, there
you
was
go.
women who wanted to, you know what I mean? And listen, if I was younger, I would have. Sure, let's go. And it's true. Again, I think Eddie Murphy said it best. You could be an ugly man with the ugliest man in the world, but once you sing, women believe that dream and that fantasy.
Let me tell you something. That is a fact.
Because I'm no Burt Reynolds.
Because that dude, let me tell you something. Well, Barry White,
Woo.
that dude, them women were going crazy over this dude.
Okay.
One girl told me she would literally like go to his concerts and cover her eyes and like almost get off on it. And then she would look up and be like, "Oh no, it's Fat Boy again," and cover them up.
Well,
But it was just the voice for her.
check
deep
this
voice.
out. What you were
What?
just saying. The Rolling Stones, hideously ugly. And again, people buy the fantasy.
That dude wasn't in Keith Richards?
Every
That dude looks
cigarette
like
you
death.
smoke adds an extra year to his life.
That dude looks like death.
He
is
died
up on
5
his
years
back.
ago.
Yeah.
He just forgot to lie down.
Exactly.
That's what happened with him.
That's what that dude's face. I was like, yeah.
But Yeah, I've had and the debauchery I experienced being on tour. Yeah, it was debauchery. What I witnessed, like the musicians doing, it was disgusting.
I could only imagine.
And you know, it's just you're basically living on a tour bus, so you're in a cocoon. There's only 6 or 5. The only thing that was really creepy to me was like when I would go from the front lounge to the back, like 5 guys would be sitting around watching a porn, and I'd be like, dudes, are you kidding me? Do you know how gay this is? Do you know how like disgusting this is? Now, if you're in your own room and you do it, do you? But yeah, the things I seen on the road. Big shout out to Mr. Vin Sarcone. We'll call him my cousin Vinny, who joined us in the chat room. Jeannie Hernandez is saying, old school is the greatest. A jock strap for DJ Eric. Haha. And yeah, I don't think anyone threw their underwear at me.
Wow.
So
All those places you went to, they never threw anything at you?
no, like I said, I've
Not
signed
even an egg?
I've signed breast assists, I've signed buttocks, but
Have you really?
yes. My wife handed me to Sharpie one night. I told you that one, right?
That's crazy.
We were at Latin Quarter. I did a show at Latin Quarter. It was a great show, needless to add. My merengue orchestra. I come off the stage. This woman came up to me and she goes, excuse me, would you sign something for me? I said, sure. She put her leg up and lifted her skirt all the way up, and she wanted me to sign her inner thigh. So I was sweating because my wife was sitting next to me, and she handed me to Sharpie, and I wrote Pat Shannon was here and drew an arrow towards the vajayjay. Wow. And she kissed me. I gave her a free CD. And when I got into the car, it was silence, and my wife went, it was very enjoyable to watch you shiver and shake like that. Because it was uncomfortable. Now, if she wasn't there, it would have been wonderful. But she was there.
You were scared, Pat?
I was a little nervous.
Were you expecting to get
Cruz, let me ask you a question. If your wife was performing and some guy wanted her to sign his inner thigh, would you be happy about this?
If she performed and she was going to sign a dude's what? His inner thigh?
His inner thigh right next to his, like, his ballsack.
Fuck it. If she's bringing the check, fuck it.
Oh, wow. You're pimping.
Yeah.
Wow, DJ Cruz is pimping.
And it ain't easy. And it
my
ain't
cousin,
easy.
my cousin Vinny just asked me to sign his ass the next time I see him. You hand
Show
me the
me the
Sharpie,
money.
big guy. But no, I mean, when I used to sing in Bushwick, I was the king of the large women.
Why?
Yeah, large women loved me.
You were the pharaoh?
I know.
You used to go hogging?
No, not me, but every time we'd see like large women, they'd be like, mira, maldito, óyeme, gringo. And I'd be like, hey, ladies, how you doing? And my wife would say, who's that? I'm like, a couple of fans. And then we'd walk by Jenny Craig, and my wife would be like, oh, they're having the official Pat Shannon fan club in there. So it was, she was funny. We got 822. Here's one that I'd like to bring up. Everybody in the chat room. We talked about it before you got here. Did you see the chick who won the $88 million?
Yeah.
And then she bailed out her boyfriend for $3 million.
Right.
Then the parole officer showed up,
Right.
smelt a little weed, went and got a warrant, went back, relocked him up,
Right.
and then she paid a cash bond for $6 million to get him out.
Okay.
Damn,
Now,
$9 million.
That's $9 million.
Hold on.
Now,
Go ahead.
she has 4 young children, and I think
$1
that's her baby's daddy.
That's her baby's daddy?
I
Go
think
ahead.
so. That's what
Okay.
because I was
no, he's
listening
not the
to
father.
them. But
He has his own kids, I think. But go ahead, continue.
at what point do you cut him off?
You know what, though? We got to look at something that we haven't analyzed, which is this. She looks like she's a ride-or-die chick, right? Okay. So now, maybe when he was out there doing his thing, whatever it may be, but I'm pretty sure it had something to do with some type of illegal contraband substance, whatever he was doing.
He was drug dealing.
Okay, so now whatever he was doing, how do you know before she won his $88 million, he wasn't holding her down?
$9
How he was
mil.
paying her rent, putting food on her table, doing this
Okay.
and that.
He was
So-
also giving her the...
I
All right,
think
whatever,
that's-
all right.
I think she paid $9 million for,
For what?
for some peachy.
For the
Some
cocaine?
fish.
Yeah, for the little pishka deal.
Rubber biscuit. Well, it's
know.
possible, but like I said, we
First-
don't know. He could have been holding her down before that, and now she would be jacked up if she had money and forgot about him.
Well, $9 million.
don't know that.
Franks and beans.
So hold on, but listen. So now let's put
$9
the.
mil.
So hold on. Let's put the
$9
shoe,
million.
fellas. Let's put the shoe on the other foot. You
No,
meet
there's
some
not a
chick-
vagina in the world
I'm not finished.
My wife got arrested. I'd look at her and go, "Oh, how sad. I'll see you in about 4 years."
So
I'm
even
not-
if she held you down all this time,
she didn't hold me down at $9 million.
it don't gotta be $9 million.
Man,
It don't
yes, it
have to
does.
be equal. It has to be equal. So now,
Yo, 9 mil.
$9
on.
million. The first 3, okay, but then
Hold
you
on.
come out and a week later go back in. You're on your own, bitch.
okay, hold on.
Sorry.
9 mil. Hold on. 9 mil. Let's make it 10, opposed to 88. Is
Oh,
how
hell
much?
no.
What percentage?
Come
is that?
on.
Hold on.
But
You're
she's
looking
going to
at
be
mil.
MC Hammer. Soon she's going to be making gangster videos because she's broke.
Listen,
You keep spending $9 million. Because what's going to happen? He's going to come out and say, hey, let's take this $88 million, buy a couple of kilos. We could turn it into $168. You know that's going to happen.
well, whether it does or it doesn't, was he holding her down? People, you can't forget about. There has to be some kind of loyalty. If you're messed up,
Yes.
all right, let's say you're jacked up.
Okay.
You don't have a job right now. God forbid you get fired from your job, you go home. Now, we know you're a man and you're going to make it happen, but let's just say you didn't for a minute. And your wife tells you, listen, my family's connected, I'm going to make it happen. She starts bringing a couple of kilos, whatever, moving stuff around, whatever. Now, because she's doing that, beside the money, we're not talking about $10 million yet. We're just talking about because she's moving kilos, making it happen. You're going to leave her because of that? Yes or no?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So, but maybe some person won't. You will leave her,
Do I have $88 million to
and
take
I'm not
with
talking
me?
about 88
Or am I
million yet.
working for the city?
You're broke. You don't
Ooh.
even got a
I don't
city
have a job? No, I'm hanging. I'm
Ah.
hanging. You kidding?
So
I'm
now,
hanging.
you're hanging out with her,
Yep.
knowing that she's a drug dealer. Now, she's putting foot on, buys you a Benzo. What car you want? Whatever. All right, cool. Whatever. She got you.
But now hold on. Is
Now-
this my wife or just some skank I'm with?
Let's say you're just living with her, but you're not technically married. But let's say you've been living with her for the past 5 years. And now,
Yeah, but I would.
oh, hold on.
Okay.
So now, she's been taking care of you. Gave you a what kind of car you want? That Mercedes. Go get it. Food on the table. Here you go. You haven't really worked. You haven't done it. She's taking care of you. Now you hit. You don't tell me you're gonna walk away. And on top of that, you knew she was a drug dealer. So now, when she was giving you her money, it was okay for her to be a drug dealer. But now that you got money, now all of a sudden you develop morality and.
All right.
Okay.
Now to get deep. One, I would never get involved with the drugs. And I will tell you this. When I first got out of the Marine Corps, I was not making a lot of money. Like I worked at Sears.
Right.
And
That was Andy's conspiracy theory.
What?
my woman stayed with me when I had my shitty. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's that loyalty.
All right.
there to her.
So she hung
But
in there.
if she started dealing drugs, I would leave tomorrow.
All right, so that's drugs. All right, so that's extreme for us.
know.
But I'm just saying in general, she, was she working when you was working at Sears?
Yes. No, actually,
No, okay.
when I first got with her, she had 2 little kids, so I worked and she was always there for the kids.
Okay, so now,
I worked hard. I
of
worked
course
6 days a week.
listen, I know I've been there. So now, not saying that you feel you deserve anything,
Nope.
but now how would you feel if in turn she hit 200 million
Mm-hmm.
and said, "Bye, Pat." Now,
That
of
means-
course,
that means Pat
hold
wasn't
on.
giving her the.
hold,
No,
no, hold
we're
on.
married, so I'd get half of it. So if you're gonna give me half and go, see ya. I'll figure it out. Because
Okay.
I'm a bus driver, and I gotta be totally honest. Being a bus driver is kind of like being in a merengue
vibes
band.
with
Get
us.
some chicks. Bus drivers
Yeah,
get
I'm
some
not,
chicks.
I'm not stressing that.
So with $50 million, I'd be dating like 21-year-old models. I would never get married again. No one would ever live with me, but you could come over, we could watch a movie, and then you could leave.
Okay.
But I have the money to do so.
But bottom line is, so now let's just say, for the
Okay.
sake of, when you started with your wife and you were working at Sears, you was married then also? No.
No, but
So,
we lived
okay,
together.
Okay. So now let's say you didn't get married. Let's say you were living together until now.
And she won
You've been
88
holding
million
down the
and
fort.
left,
Now she
I'd be
won
pretty
not
pissed.
88. She won 200 million, and now she's like, "Fuck that, I'm out of here." Whatever. Now, would you feel like, yo, I put in my fucking bid, I did this, I did not saying that you want anything in return, but you're like, I fucking busted my hump 6 days a week to keep this household going, and now you get a little piece of change and you out.
I would tell her, honey, you got to at least
So
see
you
me
would
with
expect,
$1 million.
you would like for her to
See
be
me
like, you
with
know
$1
what,
million.
I got you, and now the same way.
Even if you're leaving,
All right, now,
set me up.
all right, so exactly, set you
But
up.
Pastor,
still,
you'll cut her a little piece of it and break out.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Now, if I won right now, if I won 100, I hope she ain't listening. If I won 188 million, I would probably tell her I won 20, give her 5,
You
and
don't
we'd
think she's
live
gonna know?
together. No, I would, because only 2 women in the world, my mother and my wife, could spend $88 million in under 3 weeks. My wife just loves to spend, and she'll tell you, oh, it's so therapeutic for me to go shopping. And she'll go shopping.
It's that way for every woman. Don't you understand that?
They do that, and then they get home and they start crying. They got no money.
No, if you want to make $1 million,
no, they crying before they go because they don't have no money. Then they go spend what they don't have on credit cards or your money. Then come back and still be like, I'm fucked up, I'm broke. But look at these nice shoes that go on sale.
if you want to make money,
What about the ones that buy the stuff and then
hide it in the
and they
trunk.
see it in the other store for $10 less and they take it back?
that's me. What I do is pre-shop.
You know what?
If I know I'm getting paid Friday, I'll go out Thursday night and just look. And if I find a shirt that's $50, I'll go, ooh, that's a $50 shirt.
What a
And I will
bargain.
find it somewhere for $25. If I got to go to 181st Street and freaking Broadway, I'll find it. But I get an idea of what I want. I never go shopping with money in my pocket.
I hear you,
Because
brother.
I'll be in a rush, and if I see a pair of shoes that's $105, I'll buy them. And then 2 days later, after they're all scuffed up and danced in, I'll find them for $35, and that pisses me off. So
That happened to me one time, and that was it.
you know, but
One time I bought a pair of shoes, and like a week later I saw them
piss you off, right?
slightly.
It's
I just,
irritating.
yeah. In my mind, I just made up something
So-
like, oh, those were better anyway. Whatever.
If I know I gotta go somewhere Thursday, I'll hit the mall.
Wednesday.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. It's my phone. It's my nephew. They're at a rap concert. Hello.
Nice.
Hello.
Yeah, beautiful.
He's seeing J. Crew in Miami. He's ass dialing me now. That's what happened. Yeah. He's probably either jumping or it's J. Crew and Wahil.
What the hell is that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, my favorites too. Anyway, I'd like to hear from the folks in the chat room. Big shout out to my dad who joined us. Speaking of having a woman who could rip through some serious money, my father's one of these dudes. He doesn't care
About?
what my mother spends. He
You
never
know what?
did.
A lot of the old timers.
I
like
respect
that.
them for that.
No, a lot of
I
old
love 'em
timers
for
are
that.
like that. I knew a guy who went out house shopping with his wife. His wife saw this house. You sure this is the one you want, honey? Yes, this is it. Are you sure? Yes, this is it. Are you sure? Yes, it. And this was like back in the 70s when money was money. And he put down a hefty, like I think it was like 15 grand down on a house. His mistake was they just continued to look until they got their closing date. And then they saw another house, and she said, no, this is the one that I want. And he couldn't get his deposit back from the other one because the only way you get that is if you don't qualify for the loan, but
Right.
he had it. So what he did was he just went ahead, put more money down on the next one, and bought the one that she really wanted.
Damn.
So now when we ask him and we're like, yo, what the hell did you do? He said, I bought myself peace of mind. Because he's like, if I would have stuck to that other house and that's not really what she wanted, I would have heard it for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but 15 grand.
Back then.
So you're
15 grand was
talking
a lot of
that's
money back
like
then.
that's like 30 now.
More, I think.
Wow, no, I would have no. The minute I put 15 grand down on anything, I'm stopping looking. Okay, you sure this is yes? Okay, there you go. Because, again, me and my wife have this. Nibby, okay, and I'll do it, and I go, okay, you can't come to me next week and ask me for some more because this is it. But whereas in my dad, I'll walk in and purposely go, oh, Ma, that's kind of nice. Yes, your father wanted the whatever, and I'll look at him and go, wow, Dad, you're going to let this woman spend all of my inheritance? And he's like, what do you give a shit? What do you care? Mind your business. Let her do what she wants.
I like your dad. Mind
And
your
he's
business.
a
Mind your,
no,
I'm
I mean-
talking about the mind your business part.
he's a good dude, my father. He's, you know what I mean? He
I
always
like people
worked.
that mind their business.
You like people who do what?
That mind their business.
But it's his money.
It's her money too.
Really?
Once you get married, it's her money.
Because man works from sun to sun and women's work is never done. Is that right?
Oh yes, Ralphie boy.
Wow, Cruz. I don't know.
Did you see that thing I put up on Facebook about a woman if her man is cheating? Did
No,
you
I
see that
didn't
one,
see
Crew?
that. Is it what is it, a video?
No. It's just like a picture and it has some writing over it. And it says if a woman finds her man cheating, she should bow down to his feet and ask him what is going on, what's wrong, why, is she not woman enough? What can she do?
To keep
In other
him
words,
around or something?
right? To
Like,
stop,
what did she
to
do
stop,
wrong?
Right? Where did she fall short?
Wow.
That's deep. I was like, yeah, I shared that one. Yeah. See, look at her face.
That's a mind F.
You know, let me tell you something.
That's a mind
I'm
freak.
going to tell you something, right? Let's be realistic here, right? Most women, I'm not going to say all, because some women out there, whoever they are with some dudes that are chumps. But aside from that, the average woman wants to be with a man that can provide to some extent. You know, we're not all Donald Trump, but to some extent can provide, and that he's a hustler, right? One. I don't mean hustler as in illegal,
Crime,
but
right.
I'm saying as far
The
as
hard work.
if I got to make a buck, I'll go on an extra day, you know, whatever. That you're a hustler, that you can protect that woman, that you walking down the street, something happens, you can protect that woman. Not that you're going to chump up and be like, oh, well, there's no sense in me getting a black eye too, you know. So, so women look for certain traits overall in a man, right? Okay. Now the average woman, please bear with me, the average woman feels that just because she gives a man sex, that's good enough.
That's good enough for me.
And she, see, you're one of the guys messing up the price of things. It's not, you know, it's not. No, it's not. You know, the women of old, I'm talking about, you don't find women like this anymore. The women of old, if you had to get up at 5 in the morning, even if she had to go to work at 9 or 10, she would get up and make sure your breakfast was done for you to go to work nice and full.
That was my mother. That's my mom.
So if your mom's is like that, then you know what? Your father's right in giving her whatever the hell she wants.
See, I will concede,
You know what I
because
mean?
let me tell you something. My father's sisters, my aunts, used to invite my mom to like Tupperware parties and stuff. And I remember hearing my mom on the phone go, "Ooh, no, I can't. You know, my husband's going to come home from work." And
Yeah,
she'd
you
be like,
know.
"Ooh, listen, I know he could fend for himself, but my husband works 2 jobs, and maybe he just wants somebody here to talk
You know
to
what?
him." when he
What's
gets
the
home."
picture right
Who's your
there?
father? Big Tom?
There goes the picture right there.
Yeah, my father's Big Tom.
Yeah.
My father is Big Tom.
what
He,
it-
let me tell you, my
Big
father...
Tom. Big up. Big Tom, you the
My
man.
father
You
is
the
one
man,
of the
Big Tom.
heroes of America that we don't talk about. The
Okay.
dude had the crappiest car in the neighborhood, worked 2 jobs, you know what I mean? Had his thing going on, and you know
I
what?
want Patrick to read it. Read that, Pat.
I respect the shit out of my father, and I learned
I
all
don't
the
know the
things
man,
I
but
need
just
to
by
learn.
the way you speaking about him, so do I.
If she finds out you got a side chick, a real woman would lay her head at your feet and apologize for not being all the woman you need.
That's what I'm
Wow.
talking about. That's what I'm talking
Wow.
about. Look at her.
But now, are there women in here that want to kick Andy right in the testicles?
Oh, yes.
Up,
Tell
2
me.
hands went up.
Let me know. Let me know. Put it in the chat. Call up. Let me know. But it's real. Women back then were like that. So now you got a woman of yesteryear. Now we know things change. We know that. But the man's work never changed. You know, he does his thing. So now the man goes out, does this. Like I said, if he's a good man, he's willing to hustle,
Oh, no,
willing
girl-
to make the extra buck.
Girls nowadays,
No, a
girls
woman thinks
nowadays,
that
now
just
they'll go
because.
get 5 other dudes,
Yeah,
and they think
no.
because they put in mileage on their shit, they're gonna hurt you.
Yeah, but not only that. But the point is that, you know, she thinks that because she's going to sleep with you
singing
once in
in
a
a
while
nice
and
way.
giving you a little bit of sex, that's it. No, what happened with cooking? What happened with cleaning? What happened with this, with that? What happened with the whole package? Now, I know also that for you to get the whole package as a man, you have to be the whole package. I do understand that. I'm not expecting a woman to be like that with any chump that comes, you know, down the street. That I do know. But come on, people. Talk to me, America. Let me know what you think.
And a shout out to Francis Santiago. I don't know. Let me see how
Don't
to
worry
fit-
about it.
Andy,
Don't
do
worry
you
about it.
think- do you think-
Tiburcio. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Shout out
think-
to her who's in the chat room.
Do you think males cheat because they think their woman is not enough? What a trick question.
Say,
No way.
what's the question?
He just
Put my
set me up.
headphones on so
He
I can
just
hear
set
this.
me up, but I just threw
What were
my
the
phone down.
questions?
So you
Are
know
women cheat because why?
Do men cheat because they feel that their woman is not enough for them?
No.
I'm going to let you speak and then I'll speak. Go
Okay.
ahead.
All cases are different. That's what I think. There's some guys that are just chumps and jackasses that you could be the hottest chick who makes $1 million a week and they're still going to go outside because that's how they measure their manhood, by how many women they have.
True.
And then there's women who are crappy.
Damn, kid, that was a long.
No, I mean, then there's guys who just get with women who think they're one thing and they're not. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then there's guys that just aren't happy anymore. So and they got kids, so instead of saying, I'm out of here, they'll stay for the kids, but they'll go outside to get that excitement that they need that they're not getting from their wife. So there's all different, you know what I mean? But,
You ready for my take on that?
yes, sir.
You ready, Mr. Cruz?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Take notes.
Oh, let me get my pen.
All right, now,
These are Andyisms. I'm
Andyisms, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Andyisms.
in my opinion, What happens is a man cheats on a woman when he doesn't love her 100%. Now, let me break that down. Because of the fact of this, a man by nature, it's in his loins to be with more than one woman.
At the same time?
I'll explain to you how. By nature, a man can juggle, just listen to this, by nature, first of all, let's look across the board, whether you're religious or not. The female to male ratio in this country here is 7-1. Worldwide is 20-1. Now, God, all-knowing, almighty, or the forces that be, or just the way nature is, however you want to look at it, why would that disparity be so great? Every other animal, except for the ones that are meant to coexist like that, like, for example, the bee, you got 1 million worker bees and 1 queen bee, which nobody talks about that one, but that's all right, you know. But anyway, things like that. But aside from that, the animals that are supposed to be basically one-on-one, and this is according to stats that have been taken, aside from fishing and men that hunt, aside from you killing them like that, those animals are almost paired off to the T. Almost paired off to the T. So now why is the big disparity in man? Because by nature, okay, man is meant to be with more than one woman. Now I'll explain to you the difference here. Because a woman right away will snap and be like, oh, well, why can't a woman be with more men? First of all, jealousy. Was this the time for that, Mr. Cruz? Or is that a cue for me to shut the hell up? Talk to me, Pop. I can't read between
keep going,
I'm
keep
not
going.
that smart.
Keep going.
All right. So,
You said women are thinking different. There
Right.
you go. You got the explosion.
so women, they're different. They right away, oh, well, why can't we women, why can't we do the same? Okay. But the point is this. A man can do it by nature. A woman can't. I'll explain myself. A man can juggle 3, 4, 5 women, right? If he's single. He got all these women. Unless the woman that he likes the most starts putting pressure on him, like, oh, it's just me and you, this and that, whatever. So he'll start going for it. He'll start cutting off them other women. But if if any of the women never say anything to him, he'll remain juggling them 4 or 5 women or whatever and remain doing that. Now, on the other hand, a woman by nature, she's single. She's going out with a couple of different guys, dating, which is her right. She's dating a couple of different guys or whatever. When she meets the one that she really cares for the most, she will, on her own, without any one of them putting pressure or asking her to do it, on her own, she will start cutting off the guys that mean less to her and gravitating herself to the one that means the most to her. So that's nature calling. That's nature. And remember, ladies, jealousy is a learned behavior. It's not natural. It's a learned behavior. Okay? Anybody dispute that? Give us a call. Say it in the chat room. Do what you will. That's Andy's knowledge.
Is this like of year 2000?
Excuse me?
Is this like from like the 2000s?
On this way?
Yeah, with the woman part of it.
It's a double standard, too.
As far as?
If a guy goes with 5 chicks in a night, everybody's going to give him a high five. But if a woman does it, she's a dirty, filthy skank.
I think that's little by little changing, man.
You think so?
I think women of
Yeah.
from the DJ side of it, I think women have surpassed dudes, man.
You know, you say that, but let me tell you something.
I think I've seen is I know dudes is dirty, but I've been seeing shit
Yeah,
that should be like, yo,
chicks are nastier than men. I'm telling
it's
you,
gotten
women
to
are
that point
nastier
because
than men.
I've always said a dude is a dog. I mean, we do what we do, but
Right.
a woman is always supposed to remain the diamond. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm sorry, it may sound fucked
Let me
up,
tell you
but
something. Women are very, because I mean, as far as me, and I've, you know, of course, from the male's point of view, that's what I could tell you. You know, guys, they try, oh, come on, baby, I'll take you out to dinner, whatever. You know, and of course,
Who uses
you still got
AOL?
that AOL crap. Anyway, so, you know, he'll invite a woman to dinner,
I'm
knowing and hoping, expecting that the woman understands what the undertones are.
But
I don't think too many, I'm not saying they don't, but I don't think too many men go out there and invite a woman straight to their penis, like, baby, you want to go do this? You know,
I do.
Okay, no, you don't. Your wife will crack your head wide open.
I just walk out with it
Yeah.
hanging out of my zipper.
Yeah, all
How
right,
you
that
doing,
sounds
honey?
good. Yeah,
Yeah, listen, I'm
How's
gonna
it
buy
hanging? A little to the right.
I'm gonna buy you a frappuccino. Then we're gonna get to work. Come
Right.
on, Toots,
But
let's
anyway,
go.
Like I said, the average man, is not gonna do that.
But now, would you concede?
But a woman will come at you in the beginning subtle, But if you A, refuse, or B,
Play
let
hard
her
to get.
let her understand that you're not taking the vibe, she will get downright nasty and invite you. Let's go do this, that, and a third, this and that. And then when you back up and like, oh, listen, how did this get to this point? You know, why you? Oh, because I'm giving you the signs and you don't understand. So I have to speak to you. And they literally tell you this.
How come I didn't learn this till after I was married for 26 years? I would be shagging everybody because all I had to do is ignore these women.
Because you're Richard Cunningham.
I think I am. Vin Sarcone wants to. My cousin Vinny wants to be a hoe for a day, and he also wants to know if Dr. Phil is here. Mr. Cruz, you have that flash card? Flip it over. I got the other one. As we're doing.
Card.
Wow! Look at that.
Wow.
That is awesome.
That
Look
is.
at that.
I like that.
Woo! I feel like who are them two guys?
Just
two
go
guys
eat
that
it.
used
Siskel and
in a
Ebert
movie.
at the movies. But now, getting back to the chick thing, I think women are more forward. Like, I don't know.
Hands down. Hands down. Initially, they won't be.
But now the new generation is what's changed. I mean,
Well,
we know back in the days there was females that played the same way. You know, you see it more now because of social media. You know what I mean? I don't think a lot of things has probably changed. Now it's just more. It's more in the open.
You know what kills me about all that social media stuff? Not everybody, because we know there's some ladies out there, but a lot of girls, because if you're doing stuff like this, it's crazy. You got girls that will stand there at a mirror and take literally pictures of their ass, but then don't want you to act some kind of way if you were to meet them or if you see them. They don't want you to talk about like, damn, baby, you got a big fat. But yeah, that's what you're presenting to me.
Right.
You're not giving me your brain. You're not answering certain questions to let me know your intelligence, taking IQ tests. You're not even just showing me your face, showing me how pretty you are. No, you're showing me your ass. So now if I come at you like that, how could you even feel any kind of way? I don't understand that. Talk to me, people. Talk to me, America. It's crazy.
If you would like to call and talk about some ass, give us
No.
a call at 718-705-4959. But now here's the thing. I got to be honest, and the women are going to hate me. I don't know
so
if
I'm not
I
the
gave...
only one in the room?
Yeah, no. I don't know if I gave the vibe when I was younger that I wanted a... I don't know.
Sex change?
No, not even
Oh,
that.
okay.
That's a story for another day.
All right.
But I used to like... If any of the chicks that I shagged on the first date,
Shagged. I like that.
we were done. We were done. I was done with you. You're a skank. Because most of them were like, oh, I've never done this before. Sure.
You wasn't a real player.
Sure.
Yeah, for
I
real.
would go
You're not
out,
a real
and,
player,
but I
player.
mean, I wouldn't look to girlfriend this chick.
Yeah, but you don't get rid
You
of
don't
them.
just get rid of them.
you know,
Shit,
why
that's
I've
a late
why
night call.
That's why I've always said that some guys could be corny. Because
No,
you don't
if
get rid
look,
of them, you keep them
if
there.
we
That's
shagged,
a keeper.
then that's all you
know,
were.
You know why?
You
That's
were the shag.
But you know what? That's a keeper as far as on that
Shagging.
level. Yeah.
Right.
Because that's one that any other day, anytime, whatever, you're like, I know this is definite, no problem.
Right?
Yeah,
when
I mean,
when you ain't hitting a home run that day.
Exactly.
Right. But
One
then
of
you
those nights-
chase the woman. See, this is the difference between men and women. Then you chase the woman who you felt like. I always chased the broads I couldn't get. I always
Yeah,
liked
of
that
course.
challenge.
That's the chase,
Like,
yeah.
okay, if I met a chick, like now, I met this one chick. I won't tell you her name. God forbid anyone hears. She worked at the mall.
Back in the day, long
Yeah,
time
it was-
ago.
I
Please
was in
say
the
that.
Marine Corps.
You have to say that long time
And,
ago.
hey, want to go out dancing? Oh, I'm a good girl. I don't go to clubs. Really? Yeah, what do you want to do? Oh, take me. She worked in Jersey. Take me to Brooklyn. I want to eat real Brooklyn pizza. Okay. I took her, and then I shoved a half a pizza down her throat, and then I took her by Caesar's Bay, and I shagged her in the front seat of my father's car, like my ass was all over his steering wheel.
Did your father know about
Did he
this?
know
No,
this before
because
this?
Now
he
you're
does
telling
now.
him.
Well, it's 30 years ago.
He's gonna be
Dad?
now. The next
think-
day I was driving my car smelled
No,
like
I
ass.
think those were the
Yeah, for real.
underwear he found in the dashboard. Like I put her drawers in the freaking glove box.
He's going to be like, I knew it
He's
smelled like
probably
ass
at home
up in
going,
here.
now I understand why my car smelled like ass the next day.
No, I mean, and then like, she wanted to know, why aren't you bringing me to meet your family? Are you kidding me? I was dripping sweat all over you in the front seat of my father's Ford.
But you know what, though? That has no merit nowadays.
You're a good girl. You don't go to clubs, but you shag guys on the first date in the front seat, not even the back. Like I didn't even have to go in the back.
Right.
Well, there's
But
some
let me tell you
there's some
something, that's
cats
not-
that'll make a chick like that their wifey.
Yeah,
Really?
but you know
Everybody
why?
got different
But you know what?
mentality.
It's not only that. What happens is that's old yesteryear. Just because a chick held out doesn't mean she's any better. Or just because she gave it to you, whatever. You know what I mean? Women are...
Did your father say something to you right now?
No, Vinny just said ass hands Tom.
Yeah, but that's changed a lot because now...
Oh, my God.
Just because, you know, women are more liberal with their sexuality and they just like men. You know, if you go to sleep with a woman in the first date or whatever, it's not a big thing. Women still believe that, so they hold out. But in reality, in the back of their mind, if they really like you, they want it to happen. But because of the stigma of, I'm going to be labeled a hoe or whatever, they'll be like, I got to hold out. You know? But it's not a big thing anymore.
Would you wife her out?
Wife, it
You'll
depends.
keep her because
Yes.
you'll keep her on the side like that's it, whatever.
It depends
But
on-
would you wife her up?
It depends on a lot of issues. There's other things more than just sex. It depends on a lot of things.
Then there was a young lady I was dating while I was on recruiting duty.
A long, long time ago.
Yes. So this was 25 years ago. I won't tell you her name.
Right.
But that's all we did. She had a
Shag.
boyfriend. She let me know right off the bat, Leasing, I have a boyfriend. Okay, is he coming with us tonight? No? Okay, cool.
So hold on. Why you got to put that accent?
Because that's exactly how she spoke.
She was Spanish?
So we are.
No, not at all.
Listen to the accent. Go ahead.
Right, do it again.
Go ahead.
So she goes, so one day she goes, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. She goes, how come you only take me to like a chicken and stuff like that?
Sounds like a Spanish chick.
We never go out dancing or nothing. You got a boyfriend. Let him take you out dancing. I mean, really, what? Are you kidding me? You duck down in the car when I pick you up. You know.
So how do you want me to take you dancing? And right.
Yeah, exactly. So I held on to her.
Okay.
It was nice.
Good. Good for you.
You know, she was
See,
sweet.
but back then that was different. Like they were more respectful about it. Like they didn't want to
Right.
get caught.
So yeah,
Now
she would
they
duck
don't
down.
care.
One
Now they
time,
posting pictures on fucking Instagram.
again,
and
this
shit,
is
like,
all before I met my wife. One time, I went to this club in
How are
Brooklyn,
you?
and I'm hanging out,
Thank you.
and I picked up this chick, and I drove her home. And all of a sudden, she jumps out of the car and runs. And I look in the rearview mirror, and there's a cat running down the street with a gun in his hand.
What?
Yeah,
A
I
cat,
put
a dude.
a dude.
Oh, I thought you meant an actual
put the
cat.
car in
What?
drive, and I drove on ahead, and I never saw her again
I would hope not.
because I think she just used me for the ride home.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right.
Then one time I was doing a gig, and I met this chick, and she was smoking hot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, we'll go out. I was actually playing in a rock band at the time. And I said, I'll take you out for breakfast. And there were 5 of her friends. And they all piled into my car. And I'm looking at them like, wow. So I went to Dunkin' Donuts, and nobody had money but me.
Of course. You
So
knew
I
that.
bought myself a sandwich. I bought the chick I liked a sandwich. And I turned to the guy behind the counter. I said, give each one of them a donut.
You still bought him something though.
Yeah, but the donut, they didn't even get the coffee to wash it down with. I was a cheap bastard, boy.
I hear you, brother.
I didn't care. Mr. Cruz, here's that flash cut. Excellent.
Oh,
Was that
hit him
too
right in the eye.
Was that too hard to throw? I threw it lefty. Did I look gay when I threw it? Because when you throw
yeah.
lefty,
A little something.
wow. When you
Can
throw
you rewind
lefty,
that at all?
when you throw lefty, you look a little
And
gay.
play a certain
Vin,
kind of music
I'm not
to
gay,
it?
bro.
Repeat it.
I threw lefty. I threw a
Listen,
lefty.
rewind it.
An instant replay.
Yeah, play some soft music and then slow it down. And
Then-
we'll see.
Then my father moved out of his house in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And this was the only thing I ever did that my father really wasn't with. Me and my friend Arthur took 2 chicks.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no furniture, nothing. The house, because he didn't sell it yet. He moved to Staten Island. They were waiting to sell the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I shagged someone on my old living room. But my sister came to me like a week later. She said, here, and gave me a pair of panties. I was like, what the hell is this? She goes, you must have left these in the house because Daddy gave them to me like they were mine. And I know they ain't mine. And I'm looking at her like, oh, my God.
Excuse me.
So
Yo,
there you go, Dad.
big-
Your
big
daughter
time.
wasn't honestly truthful with you either back then.
Big Tom
Who's your
is
favorite
finding
now,
out a
Tom?
lot of stuff.
Yeah, Big Time is really like, this is real interesting.
No, the
You know.
only thing that
Tom
another
is probably
thing
going,
that I
now
did.
I understand.
My father had a 7. This will be the last story. Then we'll get to the meat of the. My father had this.
My father.
My father had this Ford Fairmont. It
My
was a
father.
clutch, right?
Yeah.
So me and my friend Charles picked up these 2 chicks at Lemore's,
Mm-hmm.
and we were gonna drive them home. And I was trying to show off. And they were like, wow, you could drive a stick shift? I was like, that's right, man. Watch me downshift. I was like, watch me start the car without even using the key. You know, you put it in first gear and pop the clutch?
Yeah.
Well, I popped the clutch and the whole exhaust system blew off on 15th Avenue.
Get out of here.
My father heard me coming, and he told me before I left, don't screw around with the car. So I don't know what story I made up. I was like 20 years old before I even went into the Marine Corps.
Wow.
I told him that a couple of years ago.
So you didn't get a beat down for that one?
No, I found out too late. Too late.
Tom left the chat room. You
Yeah,
stressed
Big
him
Tom
out,
left the
Pop.
chat.
Yo, he left.
You stressed him out.
Yeah, because he went to wash his hands. He's sanitizing his hands right now, that little son of a bitch. Oh, my
Wow.
God.
Incredible.
We got 8:55. This
That's
is the
funny
Speak
shit.
Ezy with Andy Garcia, CEO Cruise, and your boy Pat Shannon. We are just talking and shooting
We're
the
just
breeze.
talking and shooting the breeze, people.
And what do you think, sir? You want to get into the Talk to Me America right about now? You want to continue talking about the chicks?
We could continue talking about other
Sweet.
things for a minute or two, for another little
Sweet.
while.
But if anybody else got some wonderful stories or want to disagree, you could give us a call at 718-705-4959. We're talking about the differences between women and why men cheat.
Right.
I think women who cheat are the most dangerous because a guy is going to tell somebody.
Women, let me tell you something.
Here we go.
Women will do it, get away with it, swear on a stack of Bible. You know, they just forget
And
it.
never
Let me tell you
tell.
something. They all, you know, women say that men are dogs, and we are. But you have to look at the comparison of a dog versus a cat. A dog doesn't like you, he shows you his teeth. He doesn't like what's going on, he'll bite. He'll fight the other dog, whatever. A cat is conniving. A cat will plot shit out. You know, they'll sit down and think of how, and that's what women are. Women know that they physically can't beat us with strength. So they've learned, and they're smarter than us, hands down. Women
Oh,
are smarter than
absolutely.
men.
I can see it.
So they can see it. That's a fact. So,
I concede.
Yeah.
That means I agree.
yeah. And what happens is that women will sit down and plot stuff out and will mess you up.
I got another one for you.
Here we
I
go.
won't tell you the name. I dated this chick, and we.
guy's gonna be in the
One time I
doghouse.
caught her. No. One time I caught her, not cheating, but she wasn't where she was supposed to be.
Right.
And I questioned her integrity from that moment on.
Right.
Like she called me one day. She said, "Oh, I'm sick. Don't come here." Okay.
Sounds
So,
good to me.
You know, like a schmuck, I show up with flowers and a get well card, and her mother was real cool. Her mother was like, "What's this?" "Oh, she was sick." "She ain't sick. She went to the reunion barbecue." "What reunion?" "Oh, all the fellas and everybody that used to hang out." So I went there. Who's there? Her ex-boyfriend. Now, she wasn't doing nothing. She was hanging out with all
Not
the
at the
girls.
time.
But the ex-boyfriend was there. So I walk in. I go, "Hey, here's your flowers and your card. Go scratch your ass. I'm done with you."
Right.
And she leaves with me or whatever. After 3 years of not trusting her, I just had enough of the fighting and it is. So I started dating this chick from Chicago who had the same name as her. Mm-hmm. And
How
Me
did that
and-
work out for you?
me and the chick from Chicago were shagging a lot. It was nice.
You will go over there or something?
Yeah, she had her own apartment in Manhattan. I met her at the
Oh, okay.
Limelight. So we shagged all the
Okay.
time.
It happens.
And then one day I woke up and I was like, I don't think I want to be with this one. I want to go back to the one I was with because I love that one. So I got back with her, right? And for Christmas we was going to get engaged. So I sat her down in her room and I was like, listen, I think I want to get engaged. I wanted this and I wanted that. And I think we should go ring shopping. And she said, okay.
This
There's
is the same one that
something-
lied to you.
Yeah, she said, there's something that you need to know. And I went, okay, cool.
She was
goes,
transgender?
no.
Oh, okay.
She said, I know when you broke up with me, you were having sex with that chick.
And?
And I said to her, wow, I don't expect you to understand that, but it took me that to realize how important you were for me.
Good one. I like that. I'm
And
going to
she
use
was
that
like,
one.
I get that. I get that. And she goes, I just want you to know that I was dating the guy Paul. I'm like, yeah, I know. She goes, and I knew you were having sex with so-and-so, so I had sex with Paul a lot. And I went, what? What? You dirty little whore. And it was done. I walked out and I went into the Marine Corps like a few months after that.
So
couldn't
you
handle
called her
it.
a whore because she was
Oh, a
doing the same thing.
skanky hoe. Then I used to
'Cause she was
call
doing
her
the same thing you
yeah.
did.
Then I used to call her
said, yeah.
drunk. I used to call her drunk at night.
What the hell's wrong with you?
That's,
I
the
was-
girl, that's the girl that they would play the song and you would cry?
Yep. Oh, then they would play. One day she called me.
What
And
song?
she goes,
what was the song?
I remember you from Skid Row. She
my
called me one day. She goes, hey, Pat, how you doing? I go, hey, how are you? She goes, yeah, go ahead, look for it, Cruz. I see your fingers, you little rat bastard. So one day she calls me, and she goes, hey, how you doing? I'm like, everything okay? She goes, yeah, I just want you to know I was driving in the car with so-and-so, and this song came on, and I remembered you and all the good times we used to have, and I honestly started crying. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I would get drunk and hear the song and start bawling in the car in front of my sister, my friend Terry. My friend Terry, to this day, I'm 49 years old. He'll call me when it's on. My sister will call me, that's it. Hey, Vin, this is the one song I won't play on my show.
Do you believe this?
Oh my God. Hey, true. I told people I have to be honest when I come back to the radio. My father keeps saying, you men keep talking and you won't be able to go home. Then you will see what women will kick your ass. Well, you left to go wash your hands because my ass crack was all over the steering wheel. And if you think I was nasty, I think my older brother was even nastier. But he always had his own car, my older brother.
Dang, you selling your brother out.
No, he was good. My older brother's the assistant chief of the fire department in Howell. But,
All right.
you know,
Sounds like a plan.
it's good stuff. But yeah, so
On a slight change of subject, and that
Yeah,
sports
man.
stuff today?
Sports?
Yeah, that's sports stuff you usually talk about. Nothing?
Not going.
You know what I was noticing that they're cracking on this guy because yesterday he went for a ball and his kid was in his arm and he almost fell
Oh
over.
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, they're making a big issue about it, you know.
Yeah, who
They're
cares?
asking
It's a baseball.
I know.
You
but-
can have another kid, you'll never catch another foul ball. First of all,
They
why
won't
do you
happen.
have your girl like? What if the kid gets hit in the freaking head with
Yeah,
a
exactly. Yeah.
like at that age?
they need a helmet.
Go
or
drink
something.
beer with your friends and leave your kid at home, you loser.
Don't they sell like helmets there or something for kids or
don't
something?
know.
I don't know.
Still, you could always have another child. You can't always catch a foul ball.
Not like that. Eh?
No,
Not like
yeah,
that.
So
Wow.
you know.
All right, America. This is what we've come to.
Vin says I should close every show with that song. To this day, if my sister hears it on she'll call me on her cell phone and leave a message, and you'll just hear a chuckling in the background because the girl broke my heart.
That's the worst, huh?
It kind of sucked, but it made me the man I am today.
It kind of.
How long
sucks.
ago was that he caught the ball?
Huh?
oh,
This, over this weekend, no?
Yeah, it was like I saw it on yesterday's.
I think it was like
This morning's
Sunday's
news.
Saturday or Sunday's game.
There's a shitload of them.
Huh?
There's a shitload of them.
There's one guy. He got a glove. He got a glove on his
He's
left
got the
hand.
kid, he leans
the kid on his
over.
right hand, and he leans over, almost.
And
falls
again,
over.
all the female sportscasters, they ripped this poor man to, honey, really? You're talking a foul ball here. I mean, what's the problem?
Right. Then they show the clip
didn't
of the
drop
other
the
guy
kid.
a couple of months that had the kid in one hand and actually caught the ball with
Yeah,
the
that's
other one.
great.
Yeah, that was
He
good.
didn't even lose his drink
Yeah,
because he had the drink and the kid and caught the ball barehanded. Yeah.
that was great.
Yeah, God love him. Because, I mean, I didn't have any kids and friggin' I never caught no ball and didn't even come near me.
Wow.
Yeah, so, I mean, God bless him. I like the grown men that are pissy drunk and just knock 7-year-old girls into, like, doomsday to catch a foul ball. That's a big asshole.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, because we'd be brawling.
Yeah.
Like, dude, grow up. You know what I mean?
Well, don't go to the bleachers with that because them dudes over there. That's a whole different. That's a whole different animal over there.
Yeah, the bleacher creatures.
The bleacher
at Yankee
creatures, that's a whole
Stadium's
different-
great.
yeah.
It's very entertaining.
That's a whole
You
different.
used to go to
religion.
the hockey game and you'd sit there and you never watched what was going on the ice. You used to watch the stockbrokers get drunk and beat the shit out of each other. Yeah, it was classic. Classic.
So that was like the wannabe Fight Club.
Yeah,
Let's
my
get
father
drunk and
says
go
he
in.
should have dropped me at the ball game and left me there.
You see, you started some stuff here.
Yeah, because his hands smell like ass.
Oh my God.
And you wonder where I get all this from.
Wow.
Yeah,
Big
it's good
time.
stuff.
You're the man. Don't worry about what this guy says. You're the
Yeah.
man.
He's a funny dude, my father.
So, you want to start rolling a video or what?
Yeah, Mr. Cruz, can you go into the Talk to Me America segment? This is the Speak Ezy with Andy Garcia, Pat Shannon, and CeoCruize. And now we are going to put on our political hats and get into our stuff of the week. It's the Speak Ezy. We'll be right back.
The stories you're about to hear are true. The names have been changed to protect Andy Garcia, Pat Shannon, and CeoCruize. You can email us at thespeakeasy@gmail or talktomeamerica@gmail.
And we are back live.
Yes, sir.
I was given some homework last week,
Which
I was to look into the September 11th attacks on our great nation.
Really? And what did you find?
Oof. What I found and what I didn't find.
You know, when I do that, I feel like almost saying, can it Corey Apple? But go ahead.
Wow.
Funny.
For the last week, I've been researching, watching, and these videos are not like when you watch music or some comedy, it'll condense to 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
Man, all these videos are an hour and a half, 2 hours long, 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes long because they go in depth of.
Yeah, exactly. Because they don't want to just say something
Right.
and then have some person out there where, oh, that's not a factor. So they're breaking it down to the lowest possible common denominator for you to understand, and it's almost unrefutable. But go
Now,
ahead.
we all lived in New York City when this happened.
Yes.
I was supposed to go to 350 Broadway because I was getting ready to go on a major North American tour, and my booking agent was at 350 Broadway. Shout out to
Wow.
Robert Morgallo. And I remember getting
the
up.
day of, you were supposed to go
Yep,
to
September
wow.
11th. I was getting ready to go to the train, and my wife goes, I don't think you're going nowhere. The World Trade Center's on fire. I was like,
Right.
what are you talking about? And then when I put the TV on, I saw the second plane hit. I was like, holy shit, that guy did this on purpose.
Exactly.
Within an hour, I was on the phone with the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, our country is under attack. I was in the Marine Corps. Take my number. Put me on standby. I'll re-enlist. What if you need me to, you know what I mean? Go to ground zero. If you need me to pick up a weapon, whatever.
You felt that patriotic
Yeah.
about it. Wow.
I love my country.
Yes.
I do. I really do.
Right.
And which leads us to our question of the week. Are we at war with Islam? Or is it just Islamophobia?
Right.
Which all stems from the September 11th attack. Now I'm going to tell you my take on that. The
Go ahead.
day the Commandant of the Marine Corps stands up and says, Marines, we are now declaring war on Islam. I am at war with Islam. Sorry. That's just the way I am. You know.
All right, now.
But
go ahead.
now that I'm just a citizen, a lot of funky stuff went on. I found it, even back then, really weird that after 2 days of, you know, all the newscasts, they pulled all the video off the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like the government, it was too traumatic for the United States public,
Right.
which I found like, wow, what's this all about? That was the first thing. Second thing, like I said, they didn't find the black boxes of the planes that hit, but yet they found a terrorist passport that blew, you know, off a plane that blew up through jet fuel that was hot enough to burn steel in a building, but it couldn't burn a paper passport of 13 pages.
Right.
That was flag number one that I was like, what the hell is that? Plus, I always kind of questioned the flying lessons. Oh, well, these 4 guys took flying lessons, but they didn't learn how to land. Okay, if you take flying lessons on a small private plane, because my little brother went up and did a 20-minute flying thing, and the guy let go of the things and said, you're flying the plane. And it's a small little one-engine plane.
Cessna, they call them something.
Not even a Cessna. It wasn't even,
Wow,
but it's the
okay.
same principle. You're just steering the plane.
Right.
Woohoo! There is no way in hell you could go from flying that to flying a 757 with that type of precision, make a U-turn over Boston and slam into a building if you took 4 flying lessons. That would be like me teaching you how to drive on a Nissan Sentra and then expecting you to back in a tractor-trailer to a loading dock and get it the first time. It's never going to happen.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Right.
But
That's what we're expected
that's,
to swallow.
yeah, and it just, when your eyes and you see things and your mind
Starts working.
to question the things that you see, because like you said, when you're seeing it, now there's conspiracy theorists out there that say no planes hit the building. I believe planes hit the building.
Okay.
I believe they were drones. I
Okay.
believe no one was in them. I believe the technology was there because right before that, they were landing planes in the desert. They were flying planes and landing them in the desert all by remote control. So
Right.
it's possible.
Right.
Then they were saying, because my wife plays devil's advocate, she goes, "Oh, what about all the people that died? What about all the?
How does she know that they died?
What are the planes? What about the calls from the planes? Okay, first of all, they didn't have the technology to make the calls from the planes,
Right.
and a scientist did it at 6,000 feet. The probability of a phone call was like 20%. At 13,000 feet, At 32,000 feet where they were supposedly made, the phone calls, it was 0.6%. That meant there was a 1 in a 2 million chance that a phone call would have connected from that high in 2001.
Right.
And then the airlines came out and made a big deal in 2005 or 6 when they had that type of technology. So this is where we're at. And I just don't see how.
What got me, just like you, I was home, and I saw the second plane hit, and what got to me, and started me like thinking, like you said, you started later on. That's when you started seeing things. What really got me thinking, was that evening, I believe it was CBS Channel 2. They played a video. And the video they played was of, it showed like Islamic people out in the Middle East, like partying and waving guns and partying and everything. And that was that same evening of 9/11, but towards the evening. And they were showing us, saying, oh, look, overseas. And I forgot where they said it was, but look, overseas, they're partying and they're happy that this happened or whatever, this and that. So right there and then I was like, wow, something's not right. That's not right. I know that's not true. That's not correct. So now when I went back to work about 2 days later, it's funny because I got into so many like semi-arguments and debates with people because I was like, but how do you know that was true? And they're like, look, you saw it on TV. And I'm like, because you see something on TV doesn't mean that it's real. Things could be altered, doctor. No, you crazy. Look, they showed it. They showed them partying and everything. I was like, wow. Well, anyway, it came out about 6 weeks later, and you could research this and back it up. 1010's Wins News got so much flack and heard so much about that they actually went out and did an investigation. And when they spoke to Channel 2 News about it, they were like, it was a mistake. We're sorry. Somehow, whatever, some of the footage got mixed up, and we actually showed you footage from the 91 Gulf War. Now, this is 2001. You're talking about the 91 Gulf War. You're talking about a decade. 10 years later, that had to be down in archives. That's not going to be laying around somewhere. So you're not going to tell me that someone there that wanted to create, which goes back to the question, is it what? Islamophobia?
Islamophobia. Are
Right.
we really at war with Islam?
Or are we really there? Or is somebody setting us up to believe that we are there? Because, like they showed us that tape, that created a lot of animosity.
Yep.
But now, when 1010 Win News did their finding, we made a mistake and we played a tape that was a decade old. It was just happened to be laying around. Bullshit. You had to tell someone, go down to archives, go get this, so we could air it or whatever, to start putting that poison into people's minds. People, wake up. Wake up, people. Go ahead, Pat.
The only thing that did get me was with all my research, because again, I'm a patriot. I love my country. Now,
Right.
historically speaking, the United States wanted to enter World War II, but we had just got out of World War I.
Right?
They knew the attack on Pearl Harbor was going to happen, and they did not move one person, nor did they prepare for an attack of such magnitude. And that's fact. So now, 3,000 guys died December 7th, 1941, and before no time, even the Pope was calling for America to join the war.
Right.
So that was their, you know what I mean?
Right.
That was their reason. Now,
I've always said when something happens, Pat. I've always said when something happens, look at behind the lines, see what else was achieved, see what's going on. What are they trying to achieve by that? And so many things were achieved by that. It's not even funny. It's more than one or two. There's actually quite a few things that.
well, me doing all the research and everything, it
Right.
was the saddest time of my life, because for the first time in my life as an American citizen, as a guy who believed in, that we were the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time in my life, from the 11th to like the 12th to 13th, you weren't really free. I mean, to cross the border from Brooklyn to Queens, you had to show ID.
Right.
To cross the bridge, you had to show ID.
Right.
You now had to start showing ID, and that's not a free society.
Exactly.
And my freedoms were taken.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, I'm not sitting here. I don't know who did it, but there's a lot of questions that need to be asked. And again, I don't think we'll ever find out. But it's the thing that caught my attention was all the oil that's purchased in the world, in the Middle East,
Right.
is purchased using the U.S. dollar.
Correct.
Saddam Hussein turned around and said, we're not going to accept the U.S. dollar. We want it all bought in euros.
Mm-hmm.
Now, according to what I read, the report, they said that if that happened, it would bring a lot of economic ruin to the United States of America
Right.
and financially be like a huge thing.
Right.
And he did it. He turned around and said, we ain't taking dollars no more. If you want to buy Earl from us, you got to put it in Yes. You have to put it in euros.
Earl.
And the next, you know what I mean? The next thing you know what I mean? Plus, another thing that killed me is they found this guy, Saddam Hussein, in a hole in the middle of nowhere. But it took them all them years to find Osama bin Laden. And there were reports that the terrorists, there were 19 of them, 9 of them are still alive. So,
I remember one of the main guys. Yeah, you can play video.
would you like to roll video number 1? Mr.
Sure.
Cruz, if we can. This is the Speak Ezy with Pat Shannon, Andy Garcia, and CeoCruize. We are painstakingly looking back at some of the evidence that was presented in September 11th. God bless America, my friends.
The official story of 9/11 stinks with deception, corruption and lies. It is quiet about funding of the event and of numerous warnings of the attack, other pre-knowledge of it and business involved in insurance, stock exchange and such. How is it possible that the world's most powerful and effective air defense failed so massively and that 19 fanatics with box cutters managed to put the stage to its knees? It doesn't make any sense. World Trade Center buildings 1, 2 and 7 came down with all the signs of a controlled demolition. Virtual free-fall speed against the greatest resistance, sounds of explosions, quips in the buildings, flashes of explosions, pyroclastic clouds, etc. We should believe that a guy who was not even able to fly a Cessna managed skillfully to hit the Pentagon with a jetliner. We have no video of the plane hitting the building. The hole in the Pentagon was way smaller than it should be and there were no clear signs of the plane on the side at all. Flight 93 was told to have crashed in Shanksville because brave passengers fought against the hijackers, but there was just a smoking hole in the ground, no wreckage, no bodies, nothing that made it clear that the massive plane had hit the place. The supposed hijackers were said to be extreme Muslim fanatics, but they still enjoyed alcohol, porn, prostitutes and lap dancers just weeks before the attacks. Many of the listed hijackers have been found later alive. Bin Laden, who had business relations with Bush family, denied having been behind the attacks. His relatives got out of the States quickly in a complete media silence. He documentedly visited an American hospital in Dubai a few days before the attacks. Sibel Edmonds exposed that Boogeyman Laden worked for the CIA all the way till 9/11. 9/11 commission that the administration didn't initially want at all was doomed to fail. Its budget was $50 million. For comparison, they gave $40 million for checking Bill Clinton's cum from Monica Lewinsky's dress. The difference between the importance of a blowjob and an inside job. No one behind the 9/11 attacks has been brought to court and served justice. No one who failed miserably in their duty that day have suffered from it, but instead they have been given more power. Bush said in his speech to the UN that we should never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories regarding 9/11. I think we should never tolerate the outrageous official conspiracy theory. Now we are told that if we see something, we should say something, unless we want to say something about continuing imperialistic wars, US war crimes, corporate fascism, financial terrorism, destruction of civil liberties and such, because that would make you a terrorist. The so-called war on terror is a new Cold War. 9/11 was the new Pearl Harbor they admitted they needed. The Patriot Act has turned citizens into suspects. Today war is peace, slavery is freedom, and ignorance is strength. You are now a terrorist suspect and monitored, and if they want, you can be put to jail for an infinite time, tortured and killed, all legally. Those who say that we should just move forward and forget the past does not want to learn the history lesson. History tends to repeat itself.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, that's the government.
Knocking at the door.
They didn't want us to show that video. It just cut off? Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Well, that just scared. Maybe it's because I was in a... But now...
They're watching you, Big Brother.
No, honestly, I was a little afraid to...
That was a long time, brother.
I was a little afraid to engage in this, but you know what? As an American, I think it would be a disservice to all the Americans that died that day. And it's true. That Patriot Act, the government could basically say, my father, Tom Conley, is a terrorist, and they don't need any warrants or anything. They could lock him up for an undisclosed amount of time. Like if you get locked up in the United States.
Without giving him due process, without even telling him what he's charged for.
And they signed that into effect.
Without even letting him see a lawyer.
Yep.
He doesn't even get his rights read. He has no rights.
Okay,
under the Patriot Act.
Let's look at the what do you call it?
What do you call what?
Jesse Ventura.
Okay.
They're labeling him as a lunatic. They're labeling him as a lunatic.
Why? Because he found out a bunch of truths?
Because he's questioning. And I find that when you question anything that went on 9/11, they question your patriotism. It's just like the Christians, when you agree with gay marriage, they question your faith. Oh, you're not a Christian. Why? You know what I mean? I'm a patriot. I serve this great nation. I love my country.
So did I. But the difference between me and you is, Pat, no offense, is that if they tell me I was in the Army and someone calls me up right now, we're under attack, this and that, I would be like, hold on, why? You know what I'm saying? Do my research or whatever, find out. I'm not just going to do things blindly, because that's why I've been educated. Like, that's why I know what to look for, the signs to look for, and I know what's going on. Let's start off with this whole 9/11 thing from the very beginning. From the beginning, they tell us this, they tell us that, like you said about the passport, they can't find the black boxes. What it comes down to is, were they hit? Yes, they were hit. Were by the people that we were told? We don't know that. They could have been drones, they could have been flown by someone else, we don't know. That's what we got told. Doesn't mean that it's true. Then they tell us all this stuff about and we see it, how the towers fall. But bottom line is, anybody who's involved in any firemen that are experts in accelerants, as far as, you know, when they do their reports, if someone started a fire, if it's arson or whatever, they'll tell you that jet fuel, which is basically kerosene, burns at 1,600 degrees. You need over 3,000 degrees to bend metal, to even start it to warp. The Sears Tower has been hit about 3 times, and it did not collapse, did not fall, anything. Just the plane went in, that floor or 2 were messed up, and they rebuilt it, repaired it.
Well, in my research,
yes,
there was engineers.
That?
There was a building, I think, in Brazil. It was the same structure as the World Trade Center. It burned for 42 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a few floors fell, but the structure was still there.
Yeah, of course.
The Twin Towers went down, and they were pulverized to a fine mist.
Yeah.
I don't see a fire being able to do that.
Right, because that tells you that, like they showed in the video, that was demolition. Have you ever seen a building fall apart, like in Vegas, those old casinos, that's exactly what they do. It pancakes in. That's demolition, because they don't want the building to blow up for shards to fly all over the place, so they implode it. And that's exactly what happened. Now, like you, Pat, I don't know who was involved. I can't point a finger at anybody and say he did it for a fact. But what I will tell you is who had the power, okay, to do this, number one. Who had the power to implement the Patriot Act, number 2. Who had the power that is not doing an investigation? Because I know if I was the government and there was any type of funny business going on, I would be like, listen, we got to investigate this, what the problem is. But for them not to investigate it, that means someone in higher up echelons is A, benefiting from it, B, gave the word to do it, and there's so much more. The Pentagon got hit, like he tells you there. The guy, whoever was the one flying that plane, whatever so-called terrorist, which you have to look at also, what does the word terrorist truly mean? Terrorism means a response to, people. In response to. So let's put the shoe on the other foot. If there's a gang of 100 people, and they live on my street, 100 people, a gang, and they do things to me or whatever, I know I can't beat up 100 people. So I stay quiet or whatever, but then in the middle of the night, while they're sleeping, I take a rock and I throw it through their window. That is called terrorism. That is called terrorism in response to an action that was done to me. So,
well, that goes. I look at everything through the eyes of the Irish Republican Army. And if you're going to support the IRA, then you have to support every organization that is fundamentally fighting for their freedom.
Okay.
I believe that ISIS may exist, but I believe ISIS is sitting there going, wait a minute, we didn't bomb these buildings. You just marched into the Middle East. So, yes, we're going to have to fight you unconventionally.
Of course.
Now, if you're not in the Middle East, you know what I'm saying?
Now, you brought up a perfect point, which is, let's just say let's say you were Middle Eastern. Let's put the shoe on the foot. Let's say we're American.
Right.
And we get accused of bombing something in Russia, and we know we didn't do it. We're like, what the hell are they talking
Killing
about?
everybody.
And now Russians are like, you know what? Screw Americans. Let's go over there. Let's kill everybody. How would you feel about that?
And they get boots on the ground.
Exactly. How would you
So
feel
now
about that? Like in Red Dawn, that movie.
They're kicking our doors in.
Right.
They're doing, because when you look at the military operation that they did,
Yeah.
you know, this is what, we're hunting terrorists, so they're kicking doors in. That is, dude, I'll be honest, the first time Russians kick in my door,
They're getting a bullet in the head.
nah, I'll, like you, smile at them. Oh, my friend, please don't hurt me. And then I'd be blowing shit up in Moscow. I'd blow up schools. I'd kill their kids. I'd do anything. Get lost. I don't want
But
you
you know
here
what?
no more.
You know what that's called, right?
Terrorism.
Terrorism at its best, people.
But
Exactly. That's
it's
what
really
it'll be
sad.
called.
Here's a couple of other facts that I came up with.
You know what's funny? Hold on for a minute, Pat. We as American, we love movies. And when we see movies and stuff like that going on, we appreciate it because, oh, yeah, it's going for the bad guy. Yeah, this and that. Like when you look at a movie like Rambo and stuff like that. All those acts will be considered terrorist
Terrorism.
acts.
Well,
that's terrorism.
The Boston Tea Party is a terrorist act, and
Of
we
course.
celebrate it.
That was anti-government.
Because that's the question I asked in the Marine Corps.
Right.
Again, when I was in the Marine Corps, I questioned nothing. I followed orders to the letter.
Right.
And we had a thing on terrorism, and they said the IRA. So I raised my hand. I said, Sergeant Sweeney, another Irish guy. He says, yeah, what do you want? I said, how come when America wants their independence from English rule, we celebrate it and call it revolution, but when the Irish want it, they're labeled as criminals? And his answer was, because the commandant says they're criminals. And I went, okay, it's good enough for me. And it was.
And it still is.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, brother.
Because look, I'm 50 years old. They're not going to give me a weapon and a set of BDUs and set me loose in the Middle East.
Of course
They're
not. Right.
So it's very easy.
You would actually embarrass them probably, but
No, I would kill somebody.
I know. Just not kill somebody.
But here's another couple of disturbing things that I found that just make me question. Because, again, I don't know who was behind it,
Go
but
ahead.
I do feel whoever was behind it, they don't want you to know.
Right.
Before April of 2001 or March of 2001, I'm not sure of the date, the commander of the Civil Air Patrol was the one to be able to make the decision to shoot them planes down. Now, they could have scrambled two F-16s on that 5-hour flight from Boston or whatever, and they could have knocked them out of the sky, and what would you have died? 100 people would have died?
Right.
Could have been done. But the order changed that it could only be the president or the vice president, and neither of them were available the morning they were calling.
So nothing could be done until they
And it
got
was
back.
too late, because I watched another video where you actually heard it, where he said, okay, we're going to scramble 2 jets. Okay, we're going to get, and the guy said, on whose order? And there was silence, and the guy came back and said, the vice president. And he actually said, again, sir, on whose order? And he said, sir, I've got clearance from the vice president of the United States.
Right.
And then they took off, and by the time they took off, the buildings were already coming down.
Right.
So it was like, you know, that
I
was
think
another
in
one.
general they took too long for that because let me tell you something. I know someone who's a pilot, and they told me if you veer off course, I'm talking about 20 seconds, right away the air traffic controller's calling you up. Oh yeah, what's the problem over here? Whatever.
Right.
And you got to give them something. You got to tell them something. So all that stuff about them flying around for hours before, that's a load of malarkey. Like I said before, the Pentagon, they show you a hole. Where's the plane wreckage, people? Be smart. Look at the picture. If you see pictures, you see no plane wreckage. All you see is the hole. Now, the hole looks like a train went through it. We're talking about a plane. There's wings. So one of two things happen. Or either when this quote-unquote plane hit the building, the wings had to fall off because there's no holes for the wings to go through. So if the wings fell off, where the hell are they? I'm still looking. I still haven't found them.
This is true.
But I'm telling you it's true.
It's, I don't know, just a lot of questions. That's all I have is questions. I'm not pointing a finger at nobody if the CIA's listening. I'm punking out on this one. I'm punking out. Hey, Mr. Cruz, if it's possible, can we go with video number 2? 929, this is Speak Ezy with Pat Shannon, Andy Garcia, and the shooter on the grassy knoll, CeoCruize.
I'm Major General Albert Newton Stubblebine III, U.S. Army retired. And I spent 32 years in the military. And ended up as a Major General. And my last assignment, I was
I'm
responsible.
Dr. Bob Bowman, Lieutenant Colonel, United States Air Force, retired. Flew 101 combat missions in Vietnam and directed all the DoD Star Wars programs under Presidents Ford and Carter. My PhD is in aeronautics and nuclear engineering from Caltech, and I did my postdoctoral work at the von Karman Institute in Brussels, Belgium, in finite element analysis. I taught at 5 colleges and universities, serving as department head and assistant dean. Finite element analysis is the solution of complex physical problems using advanced mathematics, things like turbulent flow or structural failure. I first became aware that there was a problem with the government's official conspiracy theory on 9/11 that very morning when I was watching what was happening on television, and my wife says I kept saying over and over, "Where are the interceptors?" And then, of course, when the first of the towers actually started falling down, I just said, "This can't happen. It can't happen." And then the other tower came down, and I said, "This violates the laws of physics. It can't happen." Those aircraft and those fires could not cause those buildings to come down in that way. So I guess I was a very early skeptic. And then, of course, the coup de grace for me was when I found out that Building 7 had collapsed later that day. And when I saw Building 7 come down, to me, Building 7, the fact that its collapse was announced prematurely by the BBC and CNN, and just seeing it come down in what for all the world looks like a perfect controlled demolition of an intact building, I mean, that's what I call a smoking gun. And you put all these things together, and it is absolutely obvious to me that we've been lied to, that the government's official story is physically impossible, and that's why we absolutely need a new investigation of 9/11. You know, I signed that petition for architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth some time ago because as an engineer, and I have 3 degrees in engineering, I know that the government story is an absolute lie. Totally convinced of it. There's a lot of people trying to convince me that the government story is the truth, and they don't come close. I fully agree with what you guys are saying, and the evidence that you have come up with over the last several years about the thermite and the speed of collapse and all the details just clinch it, should clinch it for just about anybody, certainly does for me. The architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth have collected evidence from a number of sources that prove conclusively, as far as I'm concerned, that there was controlled demolition on that morning with those 3 buildings. Now, everybody is probably pretty familiar with that evidence, the free fall speed of the buildings, and in particular the thermite in the dust from all 3 of the buildings. There's no question but that those things could not happen because of aircraft hitting a building and fires. we know we've been lied to about 9/11. We don't know for sure who did it. We don't know exactly how they did everything. And that's why we need a new investigation to find out. But in the meantime, there are things we do know. We do know that there was a massive cover-up, that there was evidence hidden and destroyed. The American people absolutely need the truth of 9/11.
And we are back.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that guy was a higher... Again, I was a peon in the Marine Corps.
Right,
This guy was like the commander of the Air Force.
right.
Now, again, I don't know who did it. I'm just going by what I'm looking at on the internet.
Right.
This guy is sitting there I'm telling you with all my experience that it's impossible what they're saying happened. And again, things that made me, you know what I mean? Like, I remember seeing the things on the thing saying, oh my God, the guy in the news would go, it was a commercial airline, and all the people they were interviewing go, no, it was a black jet. It didn't have any windows. You know what I mean? So there was just lots and lots of questions. Now, Mr. Cruz, when are you going to come forward and let everyone know you were the shooter on the grassy knoll? Were you actually one of the pilots, too, on 9/11?
Listen here.
So what do you think about this information, Mr. Cruz?
Yeah, Cruz, I know you're not into the politics, but you also weren't into the pee-pee fart joke, so you have to, meet us somewhere in the middle.
No. I don't care for America if you come and get me,
Whoa.
but I don't think the Taliban or none of those people did that shit.
See, that's...
Fuck out of here.
Point blank.
That's where I'm going. I find it really hard to believe that 4 ignorant camel jockeys from some Ahmed that came here to learn how to fly were able to pull off. Because again, when there's another video where you watch where the airspace in the United States, there's 4 spots that are radarless. And you have to shut your radar off and put it back on, and it wipes out. It wipes out. Like if you're in flight 93
Right.
and you go into the no radar zone and put off your radar and then
Right.
put it back on, they won't know what flight it is. Like it won't be able to read. They won't get a read on
But you have to know where that's exactly.
And they said all the 4 of them flights went up. They were all delayed. And it was impossible for them all to be off the radar at the same time. So, I mean, again, these are just things that you sit and you go, Here's a guy who took 4 flying lessons. Now, why is a guy carrying his ID if he's going to hijack a plane? That's another thing that made me, and that was just me 16 years ago, go, wait a minute. What did he need his passport for if he was going to hijack a plane?
Right.
Because you weren't showing ID before 9/11. Is that true, Cruz? I asked you
Sorry,
because,
I was reading something.
before 9/11, you didn't have to show your ID. All you needed was your boarding pass, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And they weren't flying internationally.
Right.
And again, it's kind of like if I'm going to steal a car, I don't care if I have my driver's license. What's the cop going to do? The car's stolen, whether I have my driver's license or not. You know what I
Right.
mean?
That's
But-
the least of your worries.
I just find it hard to believe that 4 ignorant camel jockeys did this. And I find it a little odd that Hallenberg, Dick Cheney's company, made $32 billion in the reconstruction of the Middle East. And why are we bombing the shit out of places and then spending money to And why are we giving them arms?
Exactly.
You're crying about these people, but we're giving them guns.
Just like I've said it before, but as far as the World Trade Center, they built that new, what do they call it, Freedom Tower, whatever the hell it is. They're charging people astronomical fees, and these tourists are online. There's lines paying $35, $40 to go in there. And meanwhile, the people, first responders that are dying, the ones that are left, are dying from cancer, the government is not giving them a dime or doing too much for them. They get on TV all the time and tell us. Yeah, people will stand there and weep. Oh, look what happened to the towers. Oh, this and that or whatever, but won't care about the first responders, man. I don't understand that. And I'll tell you something else, too, that was achieved by that. Because when them attacks happened, so many different things were achieved. Like we said before, we mentioned some. You said turning the buying of the oil to the dollar, make sure it stays on the dollar, the Patriot Act. And another thing that came into play is that people are not, people may not be paying that much attention to, but to some level it is important, which is the destruction of religion to some extent. You know that like several months after the Twin Towers, they were actually interviewing people, and people like the church, people that were going to church, the attendance went down because they were saying, well, if there is a God, how could he allow this to happen? And they were actually like losing faith. You know? So it's amazing with how many things were achieved by this one action.
And I will tell you that a lifetime of fear, that's what they instilled in the American public. All they have to do is mention ISIS or the Taliban.
That is the new
and
boogeyman.
People like they crap their pants.
That is the new boogeyman. Back in the day of the Cold War, the boogeyman was what?
The Russians.
Oh, the Russians,
Kill a
communism.
commie for mommy.
Yeah, the commies are coming. Oh, people literally do anything against just for the commies not to be knocking at the door. Now the new communist, the new boogeyman, is Islam. The new boogeyman is Islam.
Yeah, because
let me tell you, so you know what I saw? I don't know if anyone else paid attention to it. This is going back a couple of years. Oprah had this thing because she has that book club. And she had this thing where she had women authors from different parts of the world. So she had somebody from Canada, somebody from here. And one author was a female from the Middle East. And she actually told Oprah, you know, come over, I want you to see. And they went over there, the cameras and everything, and they were showing how these people, she was like, look, she had on jeans, a top. They went into a mall. All the women's had jeans. There was nobody forcing them to wear.
cut their heads off.
To cut their heads off. Nobody forcing them to wear that nun stuff, the nun get up. You know, nobody was forcing them. Nobody was even looking at them any kind of way. They were wearing high heels. Everything. You saw the guys walking around. Some men were dressed like, you know, traditional sheiks. But other than that, you know, it was a regular mall. Macy's, The Gap, people walking around, stuff like that. You know, and it was amazing to me. I was like, you know, the media pumps all this crap to us about, you know, oh, look what's happening over there, this, that, and third, whatever. But that's people. Don't let them pull the wool over your eyes. You have to know for yourself. Try to find out what's going on. Don't listen to people, because if somebody's giving you information, then that means they are controlling you to a certain extent.
I've learned that to question everything. Like now, in my quest to do these good shows and to bring people to the table and this, that,
Right.
I watch a lot of things. I see a lot of things on YouTube, and you got the guys going, oh, 6 black guys beat and rape a white guy. You know what I mean? You sit and you go, where is this? They don't let an American veteran fly his flag in front of his house. What cop is going to, you know what I mean, show up there and tell him, take your flag down.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just, even if I was a cop and you're my partner and the captain goes, go look and see this guy's flag, and you see an American flag, me and you are going to be like, Captain, it was an American flag. We kept going.
Yeah.
I'm not telling her. He's free to do that.
Exactly.
And it's, you got to watch out what you read and what you hear.
Yep.
And again, somebody attacked the building.
God gave us all a gift, whether you believe in God or not, you have it. And that gift is called the gift of reason, people. Start reasoning. Start looking at things with one eye open, one eye closed, like you're taking target. See what's going on. If something doesn't make sense to you, dig deeper. Don't go with something out of feeling or, in some cases, out of patriotism. Or just pay attention to what's happening.
Now,
Question
my cousin
stuff.
Vinny says, the bottom line, this is all for control of the oil field. Billions of money on the line. That is true. And I will tell you,
A big major part of it, yes, it is. But solely, no. It goes deeper than that. But yes, a big part of it is the oil fields.
and he also said, aliens ass probe Uncle Bob.
What is that?
That's, you know what, they always find the aliens in the cornfields in, like, Idaho.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lisa A. Brown, who's listening in Indiana, speaking of Idaho ass probes.
All right.
No, I'm only kidding. My sister, Lisa A. Brown. But you know what else is being manufactured?
What?
Now, Vinny, you live in Staten Island. The big problem in Staten Island is heroin. The bulk of your heroin right now is being manufactured. The poppy is being manufactured in fields in Afghanistan.
Exactly. Always. For the longest time.
You know what I mean? We're in Afghanistan for all these years. And it's funny how we go to Afghanistan, and all of a sudden the heroin trade is tremendous again. What they did was they threw all the prescription drugs at these kids. They got them hooked on the Oxycontins. Then they outpriced the kids. Now Oxycontins are $40 for one tablet. You ain't
Really?
getting high off $40.
Right.
But you bought one bag of dope for $10, you floating.
Sounds like a
You're
deal to me.
floating. We got 9:45. This is the Speak Ezy with Andy Garcia, Pat Shannon, and CeoCruize. And Mr. Cruz, let us run video number 3. You see what the guy said about that plane number 93. Now, the thing with the Pentagon, before we run the video,
Right.
in 2001, if you went into any deli or Sears, put it this way, I was a loss prevention agent in Sears. They had 103 different cameras.
Right.
You tell me the Pentagon doesn't have all them. The Pentagon had triple the amount of cameras.
Of course.
Every inch of the Pentagon was covered by video surveillance, and all they released was
do
8
you know how
still
secret?
photos.
Do you know how secret the Pentagon is?
Huge.
How secret it is. You know, in the Pentagon, I know people that have worked there. You know, in the Pentagon, as big as that place is, each room is color coded. Do you know that?
I did not know this.
Okay. Each room is color coded. So they have the green room, the white room. Now, of course, all the way on the other side, there's another green room, another. I mean, you're going to run out of colors. But,
Shout out to Izzy, who's listening in from Weehawken, New Jersey.
all right. So, each room has a different color. Now, do you know that on the paper that you write represents the color of the room?
Really?
So if you're in the green room, yes, if you're in the green room, you write on green paper. You're in the red room, you write on red paper, and so on and so forth. Now, the next room, we're in the green room. The next room is the white room. If you try to take one piece of paper from the green room and enter the white room, alarms are going off, gates are shutting down, it's lockdown. One room cannot know what the next room is doing. So, food for
Wow.
thought. Now, this is fact.
And I agree with that. I believe that.
Okay, now listen. I know, I'm not naive. I know that, you know, there has to be some level of secrecy in the government as far as attacks on, you know, stuff. They
Right.
can't let you know everything because then people, what the hell's going to be the secret?
Well, we
But-
discussed this. I believe that Flight 800 was shot
Right.
down with a handheld rocket launcher
Right,
because people saw that, and it was. They don't want to panic either.
right,
You know what I mean? They can't shut down air travel,
right.
and if terrorists are shooting planes down like that, no one's gonna want to travel like that.
Exactly.
You know.
But, right. But you have to also think, why would they shoot that down? For what reason? I mean, we'll probably never know. See if you can find out who was on that passenger list.
Yeah. See that.
That
you
would
never
be
can
interesting.
find that out.
Find out who was on that passenger list. Why was there a need to do that? And that's the interesting part about it.
Mr. Cruz, we will run the next video. I believe it's video number 3, sir. Am I correct on that one?
On fire, some small fires in the woods, just small brush fires. You know, the ground smoking, debris everywhere, pieces of metal, paper, insulation, wiring. And I just looked around and no people, you know, and I'm thinking, where are the people?
Well, those people aboard Flight 93 who resisted the hijackers are now being remembered as heroes in the history of the United States for preventing a calamity from being an even worse one. Stephen?
So much is known about this flight.
See, now, that's a fireman.
Exactly.
And what did he say on TV? Oh, there were no bodies. Now, I read, because again, I did a lot. You don't understand. Since I got home last Tuesday, I started watching 2-hour videos. And again, it's very depressing. I'm doing the hand thing like I'm a lawyer. But the county medical examiner came forward and said, after 20 minutes of that Flight 93, it looked like somebody emptied a garbage truck, put it on fire. There was no bodies, no blood. It was only 2 or 3 years afterwards that he started saying, oh, yeah, well, we started getting, after they dug, and then we found this. He changed the story out of fear. That's what I believe.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because...
Not only that, along the same lines, as far as people saying things or whatever. Look at for the war, right? The Iraqi war, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prior to the war starting, they send over so-called weapons inspectors. The chief weapon inspector, which was some big guy in the how do you call that? The UN, right? He comes out and he actually told Bush, these people are not capable. They can't make weapons. It's not happening. Not now, anyway. And Bush still said, listen, we're going in, this and that, whatever the case is, because the orders changed now, where before you needed the 3 branches of government to declare war, and somehow, lo and behold, Bush could do it on his own. But anyway, point being that war was declared on these people, and the actual guy, which his name escapes me, which was the chief weapon inspector, he actually quit the job. He said, I'm not going for this. This is total
Well, I mean, when
horseshit.
you look at it, who really benefited from going into the Middle East? Hallenberg.
Exactly.
And they got $32 billion to get the rebuilding contracts. And they're still making money off the war today.
Right.
Now, Mr. Cruz, if it's possible, can we run the next video? I don't want to say the number that it's number 4, but, you know, we'll go to this one because this is another one. Because it comes to the point where who are you going to believe? Guys who were there. I met a guy who died. He had cancer, and he was a Port Authority cop. And he said,
Before he passed,
God rest his soul, I was laying on a gurney, and Building 7 imploded from the inside.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the videos, nothing underneath Building 7, like the train stations weren't damaged. There was, you know what I mean? So, like, what? That building was taken down. And he said, don't ever repeat this because I never would, and I could never prove it because the dude's dead.
Right.
So we're going to run this quick video. We got 9:50. It's your Speak Ezy with Pat Shannon, Andy Garcia, and the shooter on the grassy knolls, CeoCruize.
I saw Building 7 come down. My fellow firefighters who were there, they did that involuntary jerk when a loud explosion goes off. You know, you can't help it, and they did. I'm a Vietnam veteran too, so I kind of didn't jump like they did, but there was an explosion. The building did come down in complete classical controlled demolition. It came down on its own footprint. There's no question about that. As a matter of fact, Richard Gage from Architects and Engineers has completely handled that from his area of expertise.
And then talk to me a little bit, obviously, as a professional in the fire department for 30 plus years, they're saying that blaming it on office fires, just a few office fires.
Well, if it wasn't so serious a situation, that would be completely laughable. That is ridiculous. First of all, our guys were up there. They were calling for additional hand lines to mop up the isolated pockets of fire. And let me just explain one thing. Never in the history of the world, never in the history of high-rise skyscrapers has ever a skyscraper ever come down because of fire. And I'm talking massive fire. And you know the reason why? Because fire does not burn by itself hot enough to compromise and melt steel. What we had in the World Trade Center, and I saw myself, was molten lava-like pockets of molten steel. All right, I spent the night on the pile searching for bodies, and I saw that with my own eyes. So who are you going to believe? Are you going to believe a bunch of government bureaucrats or my fellow brothers, which I lost 343 guys that day? And I lost Tommy O'Hagan, Bruce Van Hines, and Kenny Kumpel. And I can never forget that. I think of that before I go to bed. I think about it the first thing in the morning when I wake up. And it's in honor of them and their family that I will continue to do everything I can to make the rest of the world wake up to the fact that this was a false flag operation.
Right.
And the mere fact that there were obviously, the definition of a conspiracy is when two or more people acting in concert knowingly commit an offense or a crime, all right? A misdemeanor or a felony, an offense. That is the definition of a conspiracy. Was this a conspiracy? Absolutely. Yes, it was. And those people need to go to jail for treason. Yes, the founding fathers were up against impossible odds. They were up against King George III, upon whose holdings the sun never set. They were only 4%, and look what happened.
Yo, that dude, we need to get him on the show.
Oh, he would come on probably.
I
I
know
don't
he
even
would.
know his name.
Oh, my God.
He's a retired fireman. He did 32 years.
Oh, my God.
He was a fire marshal.
Right.
Now I'm going to tell you, they only found the remains of like 20 or 30% of the bodies. That means the rest of the bodies were all pulverized. That's nuclear. That's nuclear. That's a nuke.
That's powerful, man.
I wouldn't be surprised. Because when you see the building coming down, it's actually pulverizing and turning into like a fine...
mist dust.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, because again, I had 2 weeks, I had a whole week of this every night. So it's like, I had to write shit down.
This up? Yeah.
When the people got hit with like when they were running from the buildings, they said the explosion was cooling.
Wow.
And that's nuclear.
Wow.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
It's very, very scary, too, because you don't know who to trust anymore. You know? Now,
Well,
here's the weird thing. And I'm going to show you what a piece of work I am. When they said that Saddam Hussein switched to the euro,
right,
it kind of made me feel, well, we needed to go into the Middle East, because if he switches to the euro and crumbles our economy, that means my life's going to change. Screw that bastard. Screw all them bastards. We should shit all over them.
Okay, but
you understand?
I
That's
understand.
where my thought went. Now,
But
why am
that's-
I thinking that way?
That's
Is that
individualism at its best. Right, exactly. Fear, and that's what you've been taught. But let's be realistic here, right? Like I say all the time, people, do not get me mistaken. I love America. I'm a patriot, but I don't agree with some of the shenanigans that go on.
Well, that's government and money.
Exactly. So, the point is this, right? Are we, as a people, going to allow or tolerate, as we've been doing thus far, for the government to give us any excuse as far as anything that goes on or whatever, and we're just going to accept it? Or are we going to get together and say, listen, tell us the truths about this, that, and the third? Like I said, now, you got to be realistic. You can't ask them about everything because there's certain things that, have to remain secretive as far as operations going on overseas, things like that. I understand that. But there's certain things that you can tell us. We're not children. I think we're able to handle it. And, I think we should know. They should inform the public of these things.
The only other thing that disturbed me, again, with my research, was that they found 3 of the 4 black boxes.
Okay.
And they brought the family of the people on them planes to hear the voice recorders.
Right.
And they made them swear and sign papers that they would never disclose what they hear.
Right.
You mean to tell me all them people that were killed, not one person said, I don't care, I'm coming forward, my son is dead. I don't care if they kill me because I want to die. You know what I mean? Like if, God forbid, my daughter was killed in one of the planes and I went in and it turns out it wasn't what they say it was,
right,
I would yes them to death.
And then come out and do that.
Oh, I'd write a book, make a movie. I'd be doing TV shows till they killed me because...
But once again, they don't have to kill. They just discredit you and be like,
well, look what they did to Jesse Ventura.
Exactly.
Jesse Ventura was a Navy SEAL. He's a patriot. He fought for our country. He killed for our country.
He was a governor.
He was a governor. And now they make him out to be some babbling
crazy
old man.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's disgusting and disturbing.
Exactly. Now, my question to you is this. Do you believe, which I know more or less what your answer is going to be, but I'm going to ask you anyway out of courtesy.
Go ahead.
You ready?
Sure.
All right. Do you feel that us as the U.S., we should curtail or watch people as far as making nuclear arms? Or do you believe like some people who may be considered liberal as far as if we got them, why everybody else can't have them? What makes us superior to everybody else? Now, mind you, remember now, don't look at it automatically from the point of view of, oh, there's checks and balances. We can't let countries with terrorism. Because remember, like the man said there, this is a conspiratorial state that we're in. Go ahead.
Vin just commented. I'll get to your comment after I answer this question, Vin. Honestly, let's say Iran does make a nuclear weapon. If Iran ever unleashes one nuclear weapon on us, we would pulverize their country. So, I mean, does it give them a little more juice? Yeah, but we have enough nuclear weaponry to blow up the world 4 times over.
So you were saying we shouldn't worry about who else was making it?
But then again, Iran has always been like a little thorn on our side. They took our hostages, so... You know what I mean? Like, and then you start to question that too. Like, did that really, you know what I mean? Like, what was that all about? Because I was a kid then. I really didn't look... And again, you didn't have the media. If they didn't have the social media 9/11 would have went down exactly as they said it, and that would have been it.
Yeah.
But now everybody got their cell phones. Everybody took their own personal videos, and now they have that outlet. Because in 1941, they didn't have the outlet, so you had to go with what the government told you. And in 1941, the press was actually a business of integrity. Like, you got the truth from the press, for the most part. Today, who's ever paying the press is the story you get. Because, again, I listen to Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 7, and I could hear the same story and get 3 different interpretations.
Of course.
Because, you know what I mean? Whoever loves Hillary has no issue with her deleting 305 top secret classified emails and putting them on her personal server. Meanwhile, they lock guys up for looking at kiddie porn on their personal server, but she could have classified information, you know what I mean, on her personal server. She's not even... So it all depends. Now, Vinny asked me, do you believe the media and the government keep pushing us to fight each other, a race war, to divert us from questioning these types of things? Absolutely.
100, 1,000, 1,000,000%.
Absolutely. Because the things with the police, it's to the point now where the looters in Ferguson, they're thieves. You're stealing.
Right.
You're considered a racist if you say that. Yeah.
What?
That's a form of... Oh, well, you're just saying that because it's black people. No, I'm saying that because they're stealing.
Yeah, whoever steals,
you're looting.
Exactly.
You're looting black businesses, black people. What did a black person have to do with a white person who killed a black guy?
Right.
Who, A, was a criminal element. Who, B, got arrested more times than I've gotten paychecks in my life. You know what I mean? Dude, you know what I mean? So, yes, Vinny, I do believe that who's ever running shit, and I'm not saying it's the government, but there are people who have an immense amount of power and money that will make you believe. Because after 9/11 was the first time in my country that I felt unity between black people. Like, everyone was American.
Right, right.
You wanted to just stand up and kick some ass.
Right.
You know... Black
Under
people were
false
hugging
pretenses.
white people in the street because we were all
false
crying.
pretenses, but go ahead, right.
But that was the only time in my life that I saw a total unity.
Right.
And then they realized, oh, shit, we created this unity monster. We can't have this. Then all of a sudden, a Rodney King beating happened a couple of years after. You know what I mean? Like, things... Yeah, Rodney King stuff happened... Oh, I'm sorry, that happened in 92.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's what you said that. I'm like, what?
Well, other shit happened.
Abnormal.
Yeah, that one. You like that one. They put the plunger in the man's ass.
Stop it.
But, you know, it's definitely, again, I'm not saying who did it. I'm not sitting here saying George Bush did it. But I do believe they might have had prior knowledge and, again, needed.
All I'm saying is, I don't know who did it. I'm on your boat. I don't know who did it. But it's definitely a situation that we cannot just go to sleep at night saying, oh, well, what they gave us, the schlemiel they gave us is acceptable. No, it is not. No, it is not. We have the right to question stuff. We have the right to find out the truth. So what I say is I don't know who did it, but I would like to get to the bottom of it.
I would too.
You know, I would like an investigation to be opened up by an independent board to do an investigation and truly find out what happens. But, of course, that'll never happen. That's wishful thinking.
Right.
But we know who killed Kennedy.
DJ Cruz.
Thank you.
He was the shooter in the Grassy Knolls. Yeah. I mean, that's... Soon we're going to find out that he was actually Muhammad Atwa, too.
Wow.
Muhammad Atwa is still alive. He's the CEO of In the Mix Radio. Cruz, didn't you go down to Florida and take some flying lessons, too, in early 2001, sir?
Yeah, all right.
Wow.
The only flying I've ever done is on Microsoft.
Wow. And you do that damn well, sir. I just wanted you to know that. But, yeah, I mean, it again, I wouldn't put it past the dude who owns the buildings and took out, what's his name, Silverstein, a Jewish guy?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Oh, yeah, forget about it. It was all a farce, people. There's all kind of stuff going on.
But
it was all a farce.
I find it hard to believe that it was this major conspiracy where the news people were in on it.
Of course
somebody would talk.
No. They are talking. They make videos. You're not listening. Not you, America, is not listening. People do talk. People do tell you. People that were there, like this gentleman right here, tell you it looked like larvae. coming out of the building. He's telling you. There's people that tell you, but people don't want to listen. Now listen, when there's a major conspiracy like that, I understand what you're saying as far as not believing that everybody in the media is in on it. No, they're not, because they're reporters. But remember, the reporter reads what he gets handed.
Right.
So this is the story. Read this for tonight. That's it. So he looks down. He reads it. All right. He's not allowed to opinionate on it, because if he does, tomorrow they will have someone else there. And he likes his penthouse. He likes his car. He loves his vacations. So therefore, he's selling himself for the dollar, like most people do.
Right.
So all it comes down to is, people, the media is nothing more than intellectual prostitution. That's all it is. Intellectual prostitution. Because they know, and I hope you know, that's why you have something called an editor. Why, if I'm a respected journalist, why is it that whatever I write is not read out raw according to what I'm seeing? The editor is not out there with me in the field. I'm telling you what I saw. I'm telling you what's happening. No, but I got to bring the story back in. An editor must read it and tell me, proof it, and tell me, yes, this can stay. This has to be taken out. Editor, to edit means to omit, to take out. An editor, to take out. So now, why, if I'm trusted at my job, right? Why is it that if I write a story or whatever the case is on whatever topic, I got to come into an editor, give it to him so he could go over it or whatever to read and tell me things to take out that's not acceptable. So what you're saying as far as the news, yes, you're right. Not everybody's in on it, but the majority of people do what they're told, and that's it.
It's like being a cop.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Okay, let's be real.
Exactly.
If they told me I had to bring a bunch of flag-burning protesters to a protest in Brooklyn on a city bus,
yes, you will.
I would do it because I don't want to lose my job.
Just like they play a numbers game, then PD, when they do that Comstat thing, they play a numbers game because nobody wants to get yelled at. So all kind of things get cooked up in books and everything. Oh, this wasn't that. This was this. Whatever. Yes, people, I'm here to tell you there is a quota as far as tickets. Don't let any cop tell you no. And if they don't do the quota, they get threatened with taking out of posts and stuff like that. So not a cop, even if the ticket is bogus or not, he starts writing up tickets because they have to give in a quota. They have to give in a certain amount of tickets.
I believe that because you can definitely see
that
on certain times of the month,
especially towards the end, they start scrambling.
You see guys on Highland Boulevard every 5 minutes pulling someone over.
Yeah,
now, if they're writing tickets or not, I do not know.
I have many of friends that are on the job and still are, and they tell me there is a quota. It's alive. It's well. It's thriving. They have a quota. And bottom line is how each one handles it is different. Like my friends tell me what a lot of them do is they'll pull you over for like having one headlight out, and they'll actually tell themselves, look, I'm giving you this ticket or whatever. Go right now, go buy the headlight, and you beat the ticket. Just come back with the receipt the same day or the next day that you bought the headlight, and they throw the ticket out. So they'll tell you what to do, but still in all, they have to fill a quota. So, you know what I mean? Once you're doing that, are you truly letting the officer do his job, or are you telling him to do this and that? You know what I'm saying? So it becomes a whole different thing. But back to journalism, that's what journalism is. They read what's handed to them and what they get told. That's it. You want an opinion? Go home and tell your wife or your husband, whatever. Don't matter. And that's what it is.
That. I agree. Mr. Cruz, how much time we got left? All right. Well, once again, our phone lines are open at 718-705-4959. If you don't have any fear, give us a call. Because I notice a lot of them are afraid.
Well,
no, I mean, listen. Bottom line is it was the most terrible thing that I've ever experienced. You know, like I said, my freedom actually came into question.
Right.
And it was the worst feeling in the world.
I understand.
To not be free.
I understand that. A lot of people are scared of that, but in reality, if you look at it, there's a lot of things going on and you're truly not free. The only thing is that the average person, just like I mentioned a couple of shows ago, doesn't care because it doesn't pertain to them right now. But later on, God forbid when it does, now you want to talk, now you want to say this, now you want to say that. Like right now, under the Patriot Act, anybody, as you said before, who's labeled a terrorist. So bottom line is, if they don't like you, if you're not paying your taxes, if you're doing something wrong that they don't like, or me or you, for putting information out there, they can come out with the stuff we put out there as public anyway. But they'll come out and they'll say that one of our neighbors called up and said they smelled something or saw us doing something or whatever. And now they'll send in, guess what? The bomb squad will come into your house. And what's funny is they'll have news team conveniently outside, and they'll show the bomb squad coming in. And it's so funny because whenever I see these guys come in, they come in with these big lockers that one of them, after the gun guys come in, one of them is holding the locker on one end, the other end, and they say that's to dispose of the bomb. How the hell do I know they're not going in there with a bomb or with a makeshift thing that looks like a bomb? And then they come out showing you something. Oh, look, this is what we found. And people will believe. People will believe.
This is true.
It's amazing to me. It's amazing, amazing. People, wake up. Talk to me, America. Talk to me.
Now,
wake up.
Being that I handle the technical side, if you have any comments or anything you want to make, you could reach us at talktomeamerica@gmail, the Speakeasy @gmail, or you could hit up Andy Garcia on his Facebook page or Pat Shannon on his Facebook page. Now, let's move on to next week's show. What do you think? What should we tip on? Immigration reform?
That sounds good to me. I mean, we slightly did it already, so I don't know if you want to burn that bridge again. But
your boy came out again and said he wants to get rid of all the anchor babies. I love them. I kind of...
We can go over. We could dive into that.
I mean, do you have anything else?
No, we could dive into that. No problem. And we could add other questions too.
Are you guys running into my daily Fox News Donald Trump bashing? I will tell you this: I watched Richard French live last night, and the Republicans are trying to paint Donald Trump as a clown that they just want him to go away.
Right.
Because when he stood up and said, if I lose the debate or I don't get the Republican, I'm going to spend my own money and still run for president.
Right.
He's ahead in the polls, but they're not supporting him because they don't want him to be president.
Right.
So now, here's the sad part. With the immigration thing, I'm kind of in agreement with him. In some sense.
That's fine.
Now, I'm not saying all Mexicans are anything. I'm not saying anything about Mexico. I'm not saying...
anything about any group of people.
Right. If you're here, if you have a driver's license, and you lose your driver's license and continue to drive, you're driving what?
Illegally.
Okay, so if you're here and you don't have the proper paperwork to document that you're allowed to be here, you are here.
Illegally.
So what's the problem?
Get the illegals out, according to you.
We need to seal the border off and not let any more in.
Okay.
And then let them go through the legal process. Because like I said, I have a friend of mine who's Dominican. He went through the legal process.
Right.
Like when his son passed away, we had to go to 26 Fed, and he had to get an emergency visa for him to travel.
Right.
So now if he has to do this, why don't other people? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Let's
get it going.
And my friend Vin just said Republicans are in panic mode. I agree with that. They are trying to discredit this man, and the more they try to discredit him, he says some shit that a lot of Americans agree with.
He's not going to make it, though.
Oh, I think he's dead in the water, too. But
yeah, it doesn't make a difference.
And I saw something very humorous.
About?
They saw Chris Christie in a cowboy hat, and he called him the outlaw Jersey Whale.
This guy's funny.
Hysterical. But, Mr. Cruz, you have any closing remarks?
Blow some more buildings up.
Wow. Wow. They're going to blow up In the Mix Radio.
No.
God forbid in a
We'll
million
do that.
years.
We'll be out of a voice.
Mr. Andy, do you have any closing remarks?
Well, I want to tell everybody who was listening in and who was in the chat room and who gave us some input. Thank you very much. Vin, thank you for being there. Big time. Much respect for you. Everybody else, thanks a lot. What I will tell you as far as next week, as far as a Talk to Me America segment, what we're going to get into is because of Donald Trump. Let's get into the whole voting thing. Let's see if is that a farce or does your vote really count? I mean, George Bush proved it to me.
That's phenomenal.
George Bush proved it to me otherwise, but we'll do that.
Do you like Bush? See, now I've had that question since. Remember, that's the last time I voted.
Exactly.
When Bush won the election, he lost.
Exactly.
Wow. So now you'll be able to explain. Oh, so this. Oh, let me write my homework for next week. How does the electoral votes work?
Exactly.
Okay. How do the electoral votes work?
How do the electoral votes work? Correct.
And does your vote really count, America?
Exactly.
Holy snap in the water. We got 10, 15 A friendly reminder for all the white people out there that want to hear some kick-ass rock and metal, you could listen to Pat Shannon on the wake-up call every morning from 9 to 10 a.m. as he plays your kick-ass rock and roll. And that... Now, you know what? I don't want to end it on, and that is a show. Mr. Cruz, thank you for your input tonight. It was invaluable.
Oh, yes.
And thank you for killing John F. Kennedy. He was a little irritating.
We're going to get to it in a couple of weeks. I'm just, giving him time to get his stuff together.
And thank you for flying that plane into the building. Halabala halala. And try to enjoy the gigs next week. And you didn't say what... Cruz, how was your week?
He did.
You already know.
There you go. I need to hear that every week.
Oh, you want to hear that?
Yeah.
Right,
I think that's what we need to do. Andy, once again, thanks, bro. Great show.
No problem, brother.
It definitely gets you thinking.
We're going to do this. And next week, remember, does your vote truly count, or is the whole thing a farce? And people, I'll give people a little homework out there. For those of you who listen to the show, want to get a little bit involved. Tell me, if the voting process is true, why do we need parties? Why do we need political parties? But we'll break it down next week.
And let's say Trump doesn't get the Republican. Do you think he could ever win the presidency running independent? Let's say there's 7 million people in America. 6 million vote for Donald Trump. Are they going to let him be the president? Don't answer that.
There you go.
That's called a teaser, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
I'd like to thank everybody who is in the chat room, and we'd like to also say you're a bunch of wussies for not calling in.
Exactly.
And this is your Speak Ezy. We will be back, if we're not killed on our way home, next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. We out.
We rock worldwide.
Broadcasting to over 100 countries.
In the Mix Radio, in the Mix worldwide.